Hello, friends. Happy New Year. Boy, have I missed you. Let me be the first to welcome you to the most prestigious event in mixed martial arts, the 2019 Helwani Knows Awards. This is the 7th time that we've done this, 7 consecutive years, and let me tell you, I think this is going to be the best one yet. Fighter of the Year, KO of the Year, Submission of the Year, all those things and a whole lot more coming right up. This is going to be amazing. I can't wait. Let's do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Ariel Helwani's MMA Show!
Back in your life on this Monday, January 6, 2020. Hello again, everyone. I'm Ariel Helwani. I missed you so much. It's been 3 weeks, 3 long weeks since I've sat in this chair, since we've done this show. Last time we did it mid-December, took a little break, but we are back, my friends, and we are back for perhaps my favorite show of the year. This is the way we have started the year for the past 7 years. This is the 7th annual Helwani Knows Awards, the 2019 edition of the very prestigious Helwani Knows Awards. Dare I say, the most comprehensive award show in mixed martial arts. 24 categories, my friends. And this one is a very special one because this one also has a few decade awards. We are, of course, starting a new decade. We just ended the previous decade, so we've got a few decade awards as well, and that's always very, very special. Now, I must say, like I said, we've been doing this 7 years, dating back to the old MMA Hour days. And no joke, this by far the toughest year by far. In terms of picking some of the very important winners, a lot of people have been asking me, who decides the winners for the Helwani Knows Awards? Of course, I decide the winners. It's the Helwani Knows. It's in honor of my great nose. This is the 2018 edition of the trophy. Thank you very much to the team for stepping up our game. This is the 2019 edition of the trophy. Look at this, real gold. Thank you to Elizabeth and company for making this happen. In fact, thank you to everyone on the production team. We've been working on this for around 2.5 months because I do believe this is the most prestigious award show in mixed martial arts. I take it very seriously. And like I said, it has been so hard to pick some of these winners. I even was debating some of them this morning. On my drive from my home to exotic Bristol this morning, very early in the morning, I was wishy-washy. I was flip-flopping. I was nervous about some of these. And I'm not just talking about, some of the lower end awards. I'm talking about the big daddies. I'm talking about male and female fighter of the year. I was debating those this morning, this very morning. Never before has this happened. Usually October, November, I'm pretty set on the big ones. Not this year, my friends, and that's what makes this particular show so much fun. So these are the categories: male, female fighter of the year, fight of the year, fight of the decade, male, female fighter of the decade, male and female impact fighter of the decade. And then how about this? Round, knockout, submission, breakout fighter, most improved, story of the year, poster of the year, upset of the year. And what about comeback fighter of the year, rivalry of the year, coach of the year, event of the year, crowd of the year, walkout of the year, promo of the year, and perhaps my personal favorite, mention of the year. As you know, each and every week I've been doing something called my honorable mention, highlighting the good people in the sport of mixed martial arts doing good things. And so that particular award is to highlight some of the people who have been doing great things over the past year in the great sport of mixed martial arts. I think male and female fighter of the year are going to be highly debated, hotly contested. The other tough one, of course, coach of the year. That one I was debating up until late last night. And male and female fighter of the decade, that was a tough one as well. There is a lot to digest here. There is a lot to get to. There's a lot to debate afterwards. And the fun thing about it is we're going to have several winners joining us via Skype and other means. We'll also have a few special guests joining us in studio, multiple in-studio special guests, and people throughout the show. Now, usually when I do the show each and every Monday, I tell you who's going to be on at the top of the show. We go through the rundown. I tell you exactly when they're going to be on. But you know what? Helwani Knows Awards, we like to do it up. I like to wear a tuxedo. I like to, make things a little more secretive, a little more special. So I'm not going to tell you what's going on this entire show. You're just going to have to sit back, relax, strap on your seatbelt because, like I said earlier, I don't think you've ever been on a ride like this before. So I'm very excited about this. I'm very excited to talk to all the winners. If they aren't joining us live, we'll be talking to them through other means. So it's going to be great. I really do believe this is the most comprehensive award show on the planet as far as mixed martial arts are concerned. And maybe we could even argue most comprehensive award show, period. Why not? Why can't I own that? Why can't that be me? All right. So without further ado, shall we start things? Shall we get things kicked off here? I think we should. And
2019 Submission of the Year. Bryce Mitchell defeats Matt Sales, Twister. UFC on ESPN, Overeem versus Rosenstrike. As this fight neared the end of the first round, Mitchell took the back of Sales, locked his leg, and trapped the arm. It all culminated in a Twister submission victory for Bryce Mitchell and an extra $50,000 on top of it. This was only the second victory via Twister in UFC history. Aviv Ghazali defeats Eduard Maravitsky. Heel hook. Bellator 225. 11 seconds is all it took in this one. Once the bell rang, Maravitsky went for the glove touch, but Ghazali had other ideas. He shot right for the leg, locked in the heel hook, and history was made. The new fastest submission in Bellator history. Misha Cirkunov defeats Jimmy Crute. Peruvian necktie. UFC Fight Night, Cowboy versus Gaethje. A back and forth first round. Cirkunov reversed ground position and locked Crute in a Peruvian necktie. Not only did this result in Crute's first UFC loss, but it was only the second finish via Peruvian necktie in UFC history. Those are your 2019 Submission of the Year nominees.
Now, before I go any further, let me give a very special thank you to the great Tony Collins, who is voicing a lot of these awards, as you probably have recognized her voice from SportsCenter and other shows. Pound for pound, one of the nicest human beings here at ESPN. It is a great honor to have her involved on this program. She is so great, so talented, and so very nice. I mean, really, truly one of the nicest people. So I was really excited when she agreed to carve out some time in her schedule to help us out. So you'll be hearing a lot from the great Tony Collins on this program. So there you have it. The first award is Submission of the Year. Before I tell you who the winner of the 2019 Submission of the Year award, let me give a few other honorable mentions, if I may. How about Demetrius Johnson versus Wakamatsu at One New Era? What about Paige Van Zandt against Rachel Ostovich back in January of last year in Brooklyn? How about Eddie Alvarez's win over Edward Furlong? How about Jim Miller, Clay Guida, Jack Hermanson against Dave Branch? What a great submission that was. What about Kron Gracie against Alex Caceres? Craig Nzechukwu, RDA Lee, Patrick Mix against Chapman, OSP against Oleksiak, Askren, Maya, and of course the Brent Primus, Gogo Plata. Those are some of the honorable mentions, but in the end, and this is another one of those that I was debating for quite some time, it really came down to two for me. It came down to the Peruvian necktie from, of course, Misha Cirkunov, because that was just the second in UFC history, the first CB Dalloway against Joe Dirksen around 10 years ago, or the Bryce Mitchell Twister, also just the second in UFC history, the first, the Korean Zombie against Leonard Garcia around 10 years ago. And in the end, I went with Thug Nasty himself. Bryce Mitchell wins the 2019 Helwani Knows Award for Submission of the Year for the Twister. What a great move. What a great finish. What a great moment against Matt Sales not that long ago. Back in Washington, D.C. at the UFC Fight Night event headlined by Jairzinho Rozenstruik against Alistair Overeem. It was a toss-up, really. When you have two submissions that we've only seen once before going into this year, you could honestly go with both. And the Aviv Ghazali one as well was a really good one. I mean, 11 seconds to pull off a heel hook like that. And I know it was somewhat controversial because people said he didn't go for the glove touch. I think that's hogwash. But it came down to those two. The Peruvian necktie by Misha Cirkunov was phenomenal. Both two very hard submissions to pull off, two very special submissions, but the Twister is just so unique and it is so technical and it is so much fun and people get a kick out of it. And perhaps on top of everything, it looks like it really, really hurts. It looks like it just, I mean, we talked to Bryce about this after the victory, the Monday after, just a couple of days later, and he talked about hearing cracks in Matt Sales' body when he pulled that off. And so considering all of that, in the end, I lean towards Thug Nasty, who has enjoyed a very nice run in the UFC and is developing into one of the great characters in this sport and seems primed for a very big, important breakout 2020. And so that is our winner for the 2019 Helwani Knows Submission of the Year award. In a matter of moments, we are going to be joined by that winner. And I will remind you that over at ESPN.com/MMA, you can follow along if you want. And I gave a little more reasoning as well for all the winners. We'll be updating that page as the show rolls along. So you can go there as I speak. If you are watching us live, if you're watching us or listening to us after the fact, you can go read the award winners or read about them as you enjoy the program, whether it's online or via one of your podcast players, if you will. Bryce Mitchell is our first winner, and I'm excited to talk to him. We'll talk to him in a matter of seconds here. We're getting linked up with him here to talk about that very big award. And I've seen, other sites are doing this as well. Other outlets are doing this. I've seen predominantly most of the outlets give this award to Bryce Mitchell. I think maybe some people may have forgotten about the Misha Cirkunov victory because it happened several months ago. Sometimes we are victims of something happening, recency bias, something happening very recently, and we tend to lean towards that. But I debated all of these very much. I had a lot of people help me out. In fact, the great Kaposa on Twitter, everyone knows him, the internet legend himself, helped me out with a lot of these, so I want to give him a shout out. A lot of people honestly helped me out with all of these. I make the final decision, but I do ask for a lot of help as we tend to whittle down the list of not only the top three, but the rest of the contenders as well. So without further ado, let me say hello. Let me say congratulations to the one and only Thug Nasty, Bryce Mitchell himself, the 2019 Helwani Knows Award winner for the Submission of the Year. Hello, Bryce. How are you? Congratulations.
Oh, it's an honor, man. Thank you for having me, my brother. I've been watching your show for years and years and years now, and it's pretty cool to be on it. And I want to thank my teammates, my family, my coaches, and, Eddie Bravo for putting stuff up on YouTube. And that goes, I want to thank the whole martial arts community. I've learned everything I've learned is from other people. Most of the stuff I do, I don't make up. I just learn from other people. So I just want to thank everybody that helped me.
This particular victory and this particular submission, Bryce, do you feel like it has changed your life in the sense that you feel like more people know who you are, more people are talking about you, you're more on people's radars because it was so unique and so much fun?
It definitely stirred up the pot. You know what I mean? So I don't know if I'm more popular or anything like that. I talk to the same people every day, but yeah, it didn't hurt any. I'm sure people saw it that didn't know me before.
Well, I think you are more popular. In fact, I saw a photo recently. Were you hanging out? Correct me if I'm wrong. Was it the governor of Arkansas that you were hanging out with? You were hanging out with a very famous politician in Arkansas recently, right?
Yes, sir. I was hanging out with the lieutenant governor. The governor was gone that day, but yeah, I went up to the Capitol and talked to a bunch of politicians and the lieutenant governor. It was pretty cool.
How did that happen?
Well, my coach, the one on the left side of the picture, his name's Rolly. He knows a bunch of those people. I guess one of his buddies asked if I could go up there and meet some politicians, and they loved me, and it was pretty cool. We just talked for about 15, 20 minutes and took pictures, but it was cool to get to meet people like that.
I bet, yeah. And they just reached out to you to come. See, this is a byproduct of a great submission like that, to get to meet these famous people, shake these hands, get this kind of recognition. I also noticed online that you said that you've got some new. You may already have the next one lined up already. Is that true? Do you have your next fight yet?
I don't. My manager might or something. I don't know, but I told him a date that I'd be happy fighting in, and he probably does have somebody lined up. I really don't know though.
Okay, what's that date?
I think I told him January, February, March, April, May. That's what I told him.
Okay, so you want to take a little time off here?
Well, I mean, not time off of training. I've been training every day. Time off of fighting, I wouldn't mind because so much physical work goes into it. I have to put on weight. I have to really condition my body, and I want to develop a little bit between each fight. If they wanted to offer me some title fight or something, I'd take it tomorrow. For what I'm getting, I'd like to wait till about May.
Or maybe that Floyd Mayweather fight that you asked for not that long ago.
But I'd take that. If he showed up in my front yard right now, I'd take her. I'd hop out the trailer and beat his ass right now.
Did anything happen after you mentioned him on the show last month?
I doubt it. I mean, I don't get online or anything. He ain't showed up in my front yard yet, so he probably didn't even hear it. But if we're on an elevator together or something, I'll talk shit to him. But that's about it.
I know that you spend time at the gym. You help train people as well. When you got back to the gym, did a lot of people ask you to teach them the twister? Have you been, working at that and having to teach that technique a lot at the gym these days?
Yeah, I used to show it back in the day, and every time I show it, people don't really pay attention to the details, and they think it's weird, and they'll say, "Oh, it hurts," or they just don't like it. After this fight, that's all people wanted to do. They didn't want to do anything but the twister. So I got back and we did the twister for a week.
Amazing. And just curious, do you feel like this was the rightful winner? I feel like it came down to you or Misha Serkinov with the Peruvian necktie. Did you see that submission? And if so, which do you think is tougher to pull off?
No, I didn't see the Peruvian necktie. It is a hard one, though.
It is.
I mean, I'm a little bit biased. If you ask me, I think mine's cooler.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. I expected you to say that.
Biased. Oh, it's a little bit of bias going on over here.
All right. So Submission of the Year is a nice award. You're on people's radars. You're one of the up-and-comers in the sport, in the weight class. Let me ask you this. This time next year, where are you at in your career? Where do you want to be? Where do you predict you'll be this time next year?
I'd like to think I'd be in the top 10 and just working my way up.
Okay. Do you feel like you'll be close to being in that discussion for, title contention, or maybe not quite in a year from now?
Maybe. Just depends how the year goes. It depends what my next opponent's ranked. If they give me a higher ranked guy, if they don't give me a higher ranked guy, then I'll have to, wait till I get a higher ranked guy to get ranked high enough to get the title. But I'll take whoever they give me. But I prefer somebody higher ranked. I'd like to be top 10. Then work towards a title shot.
For sure. Yep. Any update on the shorts? The camo shorts have been quite the saga for you. Any update on that since we last spoke?
I got a buddy making some for me to train in. So I've got plenty of camo shorts to train in, but they're still not letting me fight in them.
Did they?
I got to keep hell.
Any official reason why they don't want to do this? They don't want to make something special because then maybe they feel like they'll have to do it for everyone else?
Yeah, that's called laziness.
Yeah. I agree with you, by the way. I agree with you. It's good to be unique. It's good to stand out. You have an idea. Not everyone else has an idea. No one's pushing that cause. So why not cater to you, and then you'll deal with the others when those come up.
Yeah, I think they're being a little bit lazy. That's all there is.
I understand. By the way, how are we celebrating tonight? This big award. I mean, this is probably the highlight of your career, I would imagine. What do we got on tap? Some squirrel soup. What are we doing tonight?
We're doing squirrel dumplings.
Squirrel dumplings? Wow.
Yeah, we're doing it tonight.
Wow.
I got some more. Since we last talked, I ate all of them. I got 4 more, so we're going to do some dumplings now.
All right. Well, think of me when you're enjoying those.
Absolutely. And then I gave my dogs a leftover ham bone, so they celebrate eating a whole ham bone and all the meat off of it.
Wonderful. That sounds amazing. It sounds so great. Bryce, it is a pleasure as always to talk to you. Congratulations on a great year, on a great submission, and congratulations on winning this very prestigious award. We appreciate your time.
No, thank you, man. It's an honor to be on and to get the award. That's so cool, man, because I've been watching this show for years. I love it, just like everybody else that watches it does. I love MMA. I love what you do. And it's all thanks to my coaches, my teammates, and all the people that I've learned from. So thank you.
All right. We'll talk to you soon. All the best to you. The great Bryce Mitchell, Thug Nasty, winner of the Submission of the Year award. How great was that? All right, so that is the Submission of the Year award. That's the first of 24 in the books. Let's keep this train moving along here. This is a lot of fun. You know, last year we did this and we were on television. We had to take commercial breaks. We're not on television this time. Tomorrow we'll be on television for the 1 hour version of the show. But now we just get to keep going. We just get to keep going, and we shall keep going with Round of the Year. Round of the Year is always one of the tough ones, at least for me, because you have to think about specific 5-minute moments, silos, if you will, within fights. You know, you can remember some of the best fights, but what about some of the best rounds of the year? And in fact, I went to Twitter to ask Twitter what they thought was the Round of the Year, because I was having some trouble with all of this. So without further ado, let's take a look at the nominees for 2019 Helwani Knows Round of the Year.
2019 Round of the Year. Round 5, Israel Adesanya versus Kelvin Gastelum, UFC 236. The fifth and final round to one of the best fights of the year was one to remember. With the fight being 2-2, Adesanya did his best to finish Gastelum, landing 37 significant strikes and knocking Kelvin down 3 times. Israel wound up winning the fifth round 10-8 and taking home the strap. Round 1, Ben Askren versus Robbie Lawler, UFC 235. The much-anticipated UFC debut of Ben Askren did not disappoint. After being flipped on his head by Robbie Lawler, as well as absorbing the most significant strikes, 26, in UFC history without landing one himself, Askren submitted Lawler via Bulldog choke. This was the first Bulldog choke finish in UFC since 2014. Round 1, Yoel Romero versus Paulo Costa, UFC 241. With a combined 76 significant strikes, these two physical specimens put on a show from the opening bell. Both men recorded a knockdown, which were the only knockdowns of the entire fight. Costa won the round on all 3 judges' scorecards. Those are your 2019 Round of the Year nominees.
By the way, one of the things I love about these VOs, as they say in the business, VO is voiceover, from the great Tony Collins, who I said at the top was kind enough to help us out with this. The way she says some of those names, those Hispanic names with the Yoel Romero, I can't roll my R's like that. So it's great to have her. What a great addition to the show. We should probably have her on each and every week in some capacity. Anyway, those are the 3 nominees, but other honorable mentions, if you will. Ben Askren, Robbie Lawler, round 1. Pedro Munoz against Cody Garbrandt, round 1. Nico Price, Jeff Neal, round 1. Yair Rodriguez, Jeremy Stevens, round 2. Brad Riddell against Malarkey, round 3. Usman Covington, round 5. Miocic, Cormier, round 4. Luque Barberena, round 3. And Luque Perry, round 3 as well. So those are some of the honorable mentions. In the end, though, it had to go to Israel Adesanya versus Kelvin Gastelum, round 5. What a tremendous round. In fact, my good friend Andrew Davis of the Sports and Info group here at ESPN, one of the unsung heroes of this whole entire company, gave me some great stats about this particular round. Adesanya outlanded Kelvin Gastelum 37-15 in round 5. Adesanya scored 3 knockdowns in round 5. One of 2 fighters with multiple knockdowns in round 5. Kamaru Usman at UFC 245 was the other one this past year. One of 10 title UFC fights in 2019 to enter the 5th round. Second career 5-round fight for both Adesanya and Kelvin Gastelum. And Israel Adesanya, I should say, won the round 10-8 on all 3 cards. So congratulations to Israel Adesanya and Kelvin Gastelum on a phenomenal fight, a nominee as well for Fight of the Year. And perhaps later on in the program, we shall hear from Mr. Israel Adesanya, perhaps for Male Fight of the Year, perhaps for Fight of the Year, perhaps for other awards as well. I did reach out to Kelvin Gastelum. He said, thank you very much for the award. He declined to come on to talk about it, and I understand. Lost the fight, lost the round. But hey, it takes 2 to tango. It's a very important award, and congratulations to both of them on a phenomenal fight and round in Atlanta. All right, let's move along now to our next category. 2 down, 22 to go. And now let's talk about another tough one. I swear, I'm going to say this each and every time I tee up one of the awards. Honestly, this was a really tough one. Breakout Fighter of the Year. A lot of big names broke through this past year, names that weren't on our radars last year, names, and when I say last year, of course, I mean 2018, names that emerged as top contenders, as future title holders. A lot to choose from here. Here are the nominees.
2019 Breakout Fighter of the Year. Zhang Weili, UFC strawweight champion. Although Magnum only fought twice in 2019, One of those not only came in her home country of China, but was for the UFC strawweight strap. The first round finish of then champ Jessica Andrade, Zhang not only became the first Chinese champion in UFC history, but she immediately became a face of women's MMA.
Piotr Jan, UFC bantamweight contender. Coming into the year 3-0 in the UFC, 2019 showcased the best that No Mercy had to offer. Walking through contender after contender, Jan put a stamp on the year with a performance of the night KO versus Hall of Famer Uriah Faber at UFC 245. As holder of the longest winning streak in his division, Jan is a name to remember.
Jairzinho Rozenstruik, UFC heavyweight contender. Hard to argue anyone having a better first year in the UFC than Biggie Boy had. Rozenstruik fought 4 times this year, not only winning every fight, but finishing them. 2 came inside 30 seconds in the first round, including his 9-second KO, which is the second fastest in UFC heavyweight history. Corey Sandhagen, UFC bantamweight contender. 2-0 in 2018, Corey followed that up with another perfect year in 2019 as he continues to rise up the bantamweight rankings. With victories over Mario Bautista, John Lineker, and Rafael Assunção, Sandhagen has placed himself on the short list for an upcoming title shot. Those are your 2019 Breakout Fighter of the Year nominees.
Oh, yes. This is a tough one. Some others that deserve mentioning as well. Macy Barber, Edmund Shabazian, Cyril Gagne, Johnny Walker, AJ McKee, Rafael Lovato Jr., Adam Borks, Tyrell Fortune, Kai Kara France, and even Dominic Reyes, who I know is fighting for the belt, but took a big step in his career this past year as well. In the end, though, I had to go with the man known as Biggie Boy, the Surinamese fighter himself. The pride of Suriname, Jairzinho Rozenstruik. He wins my 2019 Helwani Knows Award Breakout Fighter of the Year. And he is kind enough to be joining us from his home country of Suriname. Jairzinho, my friend, congratulations on a great year. Congratulations on winning this award. Thank you for joining us. It may have froze on him. You saw that he was there. There's my proof. All right, he's back. Jairzinho is joining us. Jairzinho, my friend, how are you?
How you doing?
I'm doing great. Congratulations, my friend, on a great year for you.
Thank you. All the best in 2020.
I appreciate that very much. What a year. If I would have told you this time last year, Jairzinho, that you would have had the year that you had 4-0 in the UFC, 4 finishes, main eventing, defeating legends like Alistair Overeem and Andrei Arlovski, seriously, would you have believed me?
Nah, I don't think I would believe you, but sometimes things go how it goes, and yeah, and I'm happy about it.
I've seen amazing footage of you, Jairzinho, back home in Suriname when you came home in the airport, the reception, the New Year's Eve party that you were hosting. You are a superstar, my friend. You are a megastar. What is it like to see this kind of love that your people are showing you? How do you react to that? How do you digest all of this?
It feels great. It feels awesome, and it motivates me more to do what I do. And yeah, I'm happy that I'm in this position, representing my country all over the world on one of the biggest stages. So yeah, it feels great.
What is life like for you over there? Like, is it hard for you to walk outside now? Are people bothering you left, right, and center?
Yeah, I got a lot of attention of people. People want to take pictures, and yeah, people want to have some conversations, you know. But I try to enjoy it, and when I'm tired, I just go back to my room and be easy, and yeah.
Are you the most famous athlete in Suriname right now?
I guess, yeah.
Incredible. Did you expect that reception when you came home after the fight against Alistair? Like all those people at the airport greeting you? Did you know that was going to happen?
No, for sure not. I was kind of surprised when I saw all those people. And when we landed, the people started singing the national anthem, and yeah, it was crazy.
By the way, Jairzinho,
when I came outside,
yes,
everybody was getting wild. You know, everybody was happy and dancing. So it feels great.
By the way, we just see your mouth right now. Is it possible to tilt up the camera a little bit so we could see your full face? The beard is phenomenal, but we wanted to see your full face as well. Breakout Fighter of the Year.
Good?
Yes, there we go. It's great. Thank you again. I also noticed recently you did something called Kids Day in Suriname, where you had a bunch of kids. You were dancing outside. It was pouring rain. What was that all about? Tell us about that.
I did a kids day. What was it? I don't know. It was the 7th or the 22nd of December, and it was nice. All the kids was there. It was a rainy day, but everybody enjoyed it, and I enjoyed it with the kids, and that's the most important part. And yeah, we had a great time. All those kids around, and yeah, after we had some live music and people from the neighborhood was dancing, chilling. It
Yeah.
was great.
Doing a little Gangnam style with the kids. And so this was just a way to give back to the community, to have all the kids join you outside, even despite the fact that it was raining.
Yeah, I mean, in my country, we don't have really. In my neighbor, let me say that we don't have like a sports center anymore. But me and my team and the foundation try to figure it out to make it happen again. That there's a sports center, maybe soccer, basketball, or fighting.
I love it.
The kids can do something, you know. So we're working on that.
So no rest for you, Jairzinho. You're back at it March 28th in Columbus, Ohio, and you got the fight that you wanted, Francis Ngannou. Are you surprised that Ngannou said yes to the fight? There was some talk that maybe he wasn't all that interested in this fight because, you're an up-and-comer. He doesn't feel like maybe this is the fight that makes sense for him. Were you surprised that he agreed to the fight?
I'm not surprised. If he didn't take this fight, he was stupid. It's the fight to make. He's the man of the hour. I want that spot, so he's the man to challenge. And for me, I like the bigger challenge, so I challenge him. He accepts. I'm happy. And yeah, as you said, no rest for me. We're gonna go at it.
Do you feel like this is a number one contender fight? The winner of this fight will fight for the belt next?
For me, I think I go for that. Yeah, I think this is even a bigger fight than the title fight, because this is the guy who everyone's scared of, and I'm gonna face him, put him down, and show there's nothing to be afraid of. And yeah,
You're predicting
title
knockout.
shot, I defend him. For sure, always.
Wow.
I
Early?
don't go for point fight. Yeah. I don't like to leave things to the judges. If you leave it to the judges, it's out of control. So I put you down, I decide,
All right. Well, I wish you the best in training for that fight, Jairzinho, and congratulations once again on a phenomenal year. 4 wins, 4 fights, 4 finishes. A lot of people didn't even know who you were this time last year, and now you're on the doorstep fighting for a belt potentially after a big fight against Francis Ngannou in Columbus. It's been amazing to watch what you've done over this past year. Enjoy it, my friend. Again, congrats, and thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And you have a great year, too.
All right, there he is, the man they call Biggie Boy. Take a look at his Instagram. Look at some of the scenes of him arriving. I posted one of the videos as well, arriving at the airport following the Alistair Overeem fight. Look at the scene at the New Year's Eve party that he hosted in Suriname. I mean, this guy is no joke, a megastar. I mean, very few fighters are generating this kind of buzz, this kind of attention, these kinds of crowds in their hometowns, home countries. It's amazing. So credit to him. Congratulations to him. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he does in 2020. All right, let's move along now to an award that is very near and dear to my heart, a very important award. It may not be very important to a lot of you, but as you know, if you've been watching my stuff, if you've been following me, you know that this is something that I talk about quite a lot, and it's something that I feel is very important as far as the fight game is concerned. The fight game isn't just about fights themselves. It isn't just about like the actual action in the cage. No, it comes with a lot. The walkouts. It comes with, the commercials. It comes with the promos. It comes with the posters. The posters are very, very important, my friend. And I feel like this is a lost art. In boxing back in the day, the posters are very important. They're iconic. When I was a college student, I used to have old HBO boxing posters all over my dorm. I love fight posters. Love them. And it's a lost art in this sport, but thankfully there are a few promotions that are doing great things as far as posters are concerned. So let me give you some honorable mentions first as far as my favorite posters of the year, and then I shall give you my number one choice. And again, a bit of a tough one, but a bit of a different one. Invicta FC 34 and Invicta FC Phoenix Series 2. You'll recall last year I gave Invicta FC the whole kit and caboodle. I gave them the entire award because they just killed it. And the brains behind all of this the legendary Boss Logic, who has far surpassed all of us in mixed martial arts. He's now like an icon in the world of Hollywood, movies, comics. I mean, the guy is just absolutely killing it, but he still does these posters for Invicta, and he does a phenomenal job with them. And so this is one of them, the Phoenix series. Look at this. This is just beautiful with all the faces. Look at the art. It's amazing. UFC 244 was another great one. That was fun because, as you can see here, it was a play on the, parental advisory thing on the CDs back in the day. Reminds me of NWA and, all those cool things. Those things at the bottom of the CD. Anyway, Masvidal, Diaz, and it was cool, and it was MSG, and it was fun, and it was BMF. So that's another honorable mention. Another one, Invicta FC, Phoenix Series 1. Loved that one as well. But in the end, I had to give it to every single Rizin poster of this past year. Every single one. I mean, look at these. Rizin just absolutely smoked the competition. Bit of a throwback, if you will, to the Pride days. Of course, they are still headed up by, the man who headed up Pride back in the old days, Nobuyuki Sakakibara. You've got Rizin 17 here, 16, 15. I mean, look at these. A lot of Horiguchi. I mean, look at the art. Look at the detail. Look at the colors. Look how it pops. This you want on your wall. Here are some more for you. And I can't just pick one. If I had to pick one, if you forced me to pick one, it would be the last one, the Rizin 21, the co-promotion with Bellator. Love that one, with the Statue of Liberty and all that. But look at the other ones. Look at 19. What dramatic MMA with 2 exclamation points. I mean, it's just so Japan, right? It's just so fun. Look at the colors. Look at the characters. Look at 18, Horiguchi, the face with the 2 titles, Rizin, Bellator. These are posters you want to be proud of. These are fun posters. So congratulations to the good folks at Rizin who ended the year very well. By the way, one of my biggest pet peeves is when people give out awards in like early December. They just want to like finish it up. No, you have to wait. You have to wait until the year is over. And a perfect example of that is Rizin 20, which ended up being one of the best events of the year. Later on, I'll tell you my event of the year, but you got to wait until the end of the year, December 31st, midnight. That's when you make your picks. Sorry, you can't do it early. Anyway, look at these. I just want to have these up behind me the entire show. Look how nice they are. Anyway, those are my posters of the year. Very nice. Congratulations to them. Last year, Invicta won the whole thing. This year, it's all Rizin. All right, now we move along to our next category, and this is another one that is near and dear to my heart. As I said at the top of the show, I've been doing this thing on my Instagram, and also we've been doing it on the facebook.com/ESPNMMA page. My honorable mention, each and every Monday, I have been mentioning people who have been doing great things, good people in the sport of mixed martial arts doing great things. Because, sometimes in the media, we tend to focus on the bad too much. And, even I have been accused of this. And I felt in 2019, each and every week, I wanted to look around the internet, hear stories. People were telling me about things as well. I wanted to see who was actually doing good stuff in this sport, who was helping out in their community, helping out the less fortunate. And honestly, it was very easy. Every week I came up with like 7 or 8. We started in January. We're still doing it this year. But for this award show, I wanted to highlight 5 or so people who did great things all year long. And we start with a man who I have called a Hall of Fame mensch. And by the way, mensch, good person, Yiddish. Mention is the plural of mensch. So, mention, it's a play on words. MENSCHEN as opposed to MENTION. You get it? Mention, plural of mensch. Honorable mention. It's a fun little thing that we came up with. Anyway, first one, Hall of Fame mensch, the one and only, the big pygmy himself, Justin Wren. This man has been doing incredible things for the good people over in Uganda, the pygmy people. He has a foundation called the Fight for the Forgotten. He helps out with kids, of course, here in the United States. He had that great, couple months with that young boy Raiden, and he took him on this trip all around. Here he is with Raiden at a college football game. I mean, it was amazing what he did after that footage came out of Raiden being bullied at his school. It was just heartbreaking stuff. Justin Wren, incredible human being. Had the chance to see him around Thanksgiving in New York. Just a great guy. And someone who hasn't been as active these days, but is very much a part of the MMA community and is always spreading positivity, helping out the less fortunate, and he is a massive, massive asset to our sport. Another man who was involved with the Fight for the Forgotten Foundation, but also has his own foundation, the Good Fight Foundation, Dustin Poirier. Dustin Poirier and his wife, Jolie, have been doing incredible things in their communities in Louisiana, but not just in Louisiana. You see his website for the Good Fight Foundation. Each and every time Dustin Poirier fights, he uses the platform that he is on to shed some light on the less fortunate. So everyone's talking about him before one of his fights. Everyone is building up to the fight, but he uses that to get people to talk about and to learn about a cause that he is very passionate about. So how does he do this? He actually auctions off his fight kit, the Reebok kit, the gloves, whatever he's wearing, the shorts, the t-shirt, all that stuff, and he makes a lot of money off of this. For the fight against Khabib Nurmagomedov in Abu Dhabi, made well over $200,000, and a lot of that was due to Khabib Nurmagomedov wearing that shirt and auctioning it off. Dana White as well added to that. But just amazing what Dustin Poirier has done each and every time he fights. He is using that platform to help other people, to shed light on other people, building a playground at a school near his house. Just amazing stuff. So well done, Dustin Poirier. Another person who helped out with the Fight for the Forgotten Foundation and who continues to do great things and to show off her heart of gold is Cris Cyborg. Was with the UFC, now with Bellator. She returns to action on January 25th, fighting against Julia Budd for the Bellator featherweight title, women's featherweight title. She did amazing things for the Pygmy people in Uganda. We saw footage after her last fight in the UFC against Felicia Spencer of them cheering her on, watching her fight. But she also met this young boy in South Africa, where she's doing her training camps these days. He is undergoing treatments for a very rare disease, and they've been swimming together and training together, and he has really stolen her heart. So this is an amazing thing that Cyborg does, and she's an incredible role model. And I think early in her career, she was kind of branded as a villain or a bad person. You see, she is one of the great souls in our sport. So kudos to Cris Cyborg. Another one, what a great moment this was after that title fight in March in Las Vegas. Tyron Woodley losing his belt to Kamaru Usman, and Tyron Woodley's mom, Mama Woodley, is a legendary figure in this sport, and you would think that she would be heartbroken because her son lost against Kamaru Usman. Well, we all saw this footage afterwards. It is worth bringing up again. Take a look at this moment in case you missed it.
It's okay. It's all good, baby. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good, honey. Bless your heart. It's all good. It's your turn. It ain't his time. It's your time. Be encouraged. You hear me? And keep on working, because it's going to come for you. And you take it to him. It's all good.
Look at that. That's incredible stuff. That's someone's mom. Her son just lost the belt, and here she is consoling the man who just beat her son in very impressive, very dominant fashion, consoling him. He's crying, and she's telling him it's all good. It's all good. She is a legend. I've seen her at the majority of Tyron Woodley's fights in the front row, cheering on her son. But to see her do that to the man who just beat her son, what a great moment. And I think that was one of everyone's favorite moments of the year, if I do say so myself. How about Daniel Cormier? Had the privilege and the pleasure and the honor of going to Gilroy, California this past year. We did that E60 piece on him as he was preparing to defend his title against Stipe Miocic, and we got to see how much he cares about the Gilroy High School wrestling team. It is impossible for me to truly explain to all of you how much he cares about these kids. On the one Friday that I was there, they were having a competition that evening, and they had to have the weigh-ins in the morning. And I tell you, he was more stressed, he was more anxious about these weigh-ins than I've ever seen him prior to one of his fights. He was going out, picking up the kids at night, getting them to work out, picking them up early in the morning, and guess what? He doesn't get paid a penny for this. Not a single dime. The stipend that he gets from Gilroy High School in Gilroy, California, Northern Cal, close to San Jose, he gives it all to his assistant coaches. Guys like Deron Wynn, UFC fighter, Sean Bunch, Bellator fighter. And he is so involved. He was with them this past weekend at another one of their competitions. the Garlic Festival competition. He is with them. He works his broadcasting schedule around his competitions. It's amazing. Like, he'll go when they were there for UFC 245, when the UFC had the event in Las Vegas, he went to Vegas, did the fighter meetings for the broadcasters, then went to Reno, Nevada for a tournament, then went back to Vegas to do the broadcast. Isn't that amazing? Daniel Cormier, incredible guy. Hopefully we get to see him one more time this year, but it's amazing what he does for those kids, how much he cares about them, and the fact that he doesn't get paid a penny for it is pretty incredible. And one last one. I've said it time and again. Some way, somehow, Max Blessed Holloway, who maybe didn't have the greatest year of all time. Remember, he lost in April to Dustin Poirier. Remember, he lost very recently to Aleksandr Volkanovski. Some way, somehow, he always seems to have the perfect thing to say. He always seems to know what to say in victory or defeat. You saw the message that he had about Alex Volkanovski. You saw the message that he had about Frankie Edgar after he beat him. You saw what he wrote about Jose Aldo after his loss to Dustin Poirier. You saw what he said about DC after he lost to Stipe Miocic. Some way, somehow, this man always knows what to say. This is the Daniel Cormier message from after that loss in August to Stipe Miocic. His words are great, inspiring. He's a tremendous role model. His relationship with his son, Minnie Blessed, Rush Holloway. Here you see the letters that they sent to him prior to the Volkanovski fight. Max Holloway is just an absolute pleasure to be around, a pleasure to cover, and truly one of the great people in the sport of mixed martial arts. I could have picked a lot of people to highlight here. Those were some of the names that kept coming up all year long, but I love doing this, and I encourage all of us to, try to pay attention a little more to the good people doing good things in this sport. And, the fight game is all about, conflict and fights and resolving these fights in the most vicious and brutal way fashion. But these people involved in the sport, these fighters are truly one of the most impressive groups of people that I've ever come across. And it's really the reason why I love doing this particular show and why I love still covering this sport after all these years. They have amazing hearts, the majority of them. And it's really just a pleasure to be a part of it and to tell their stories. So thank you very much to them for everything that they've done. And I urge everyone to continue doing great things in 2020 and beyond. All right. So in a few, we are going to be joined by my colleague. I won't tell you who it is. One of my colleagues. I have many colleagues. Our next category was a really tough one for me. And it's a bunch. We take a break from the Of the Year awards, and we focus now on the Of the Decade awards. And this, my friends, this was really tough. I mean, of course, obviously it was tough. Of the decade, I mean, we're talking about 10 years here. And if you think back to where we started at the beginning of this past decade, there were only 5 champions in the UFC. 5. Just 5 champions. Incredible. BJ Penn was the lightweight champion. George St Pierre was the welterweight champion. Anderson Silva was the middleweight champion. Lyoto Machida was the 205 champion. And Brock Lesnar was the heavyweight champion. Now, I believe off the top of my head, we have 12 champions in the UFC alone. Of course, we have women now in the sport. So much changed over the past year. The WEC merger was gigantic. Brought, the 135 and the 145-pound divisions and eventually opened the door to the 125-pound division. We also had the purchase of Strikeforce, which brought, stars like Nick Diaz and Alistair Overeem and Daniel Cormier and Luke Rockhold, future champions and ex-champions from Strikeforce came over. And, of course, Ronda Rousey and all the women who were part of their great female weight classes. Miesha Tate, of course, as well. And you had all these big fights, and you had the emergence of Ronda, and you had the emergence of Conor McGregor, and you had all these big names. And so I thought it would be fun and important to break down some of the big Of the Decade awards with a man who I talk to each and every Wednesday on ESPN+. It's the platform that we built with our hands, off our backs. I mean, now I watch the NFL playoffs. I see everyone talking about ESPN+. No mention of Chael P and I, but lest we forget, back in June of 2018, we started this thing. We made this happen when no one was talking about it. Chael P, how are you, my friend?
We brought Glenn, we brought Jimmy, we brought Charlie all into a room. We sat them down. We made the presentation. Where's our thanks for this, Helwani? First off, partner, you look fantastic. I have to tell you, I love this day of the year because I love when you wear this getup.
I appreciate it, Chael. And I always say to them, I know Chael only works once a week, every Wednesday afternoon. You love to text me a photo of you in bed like 10 minutes before the show because you literally roll out of bed to do the show. But I said if he's available on this Monday afternoon for 10 or 15 minutes, I'd appreciate his time. So thank you for giving us your time.
Wait, did you literally tell somebody I did that? Because that's a 100% true story, but I didn't know you were going around telling people. There's something that I find where you have to have an envy that I can jump up, shower, and be here within 10 minutes. Oh, and by the way, make myself a cup of coffee, and there's nothing I enjoy more, and I say this as your friend, than making you jealous.
I appreciate it. Yeah, it takes me like an hour and a half to get to I've actually never shared that, but I thought you would enjoy me sharing that with everyone now. So this has been very tough. We're talking about the Of the Decade awards here. So I don't know if you understand what this means. We're not talking about 2019. We're talking about of the past 10 years, okay? I just wanted to make sure you were up to speed.
Are you under the impression I don't know what decade means? What do you mean I'm not sure you understand this?
I just wanted to know. And I wanted to make sure. Listen, I had a tough time with this. I want to give you the floor first. Male Fighter of the Decade. I had so much trouble with this one, Chael. What did you go with?
Okay, for Male Fighter of the Decade, this is a little bit hard. And by the way, I was hoping Jake would maybe remind me of what I said because I was in the same boat with you, right? I mean, you have to look at so many. And ultimately, I think that Daniel Cormier was the Male Fighter of the Decade. I really do. Just because this champ thing is very real, in my opinion. And the fact that he covered the spread, went up, was a 2.5 to 1 underdog going in there against Stipe. I mean, these are very remarkable things, in addition to the fact that he carried a workload. He carried himself like a gentleman. He represented the sport. He's a high school coach at Gilroy, for goodness sakes. I mean, look, the guy, all the pieces of the pie, but most is athletically, and I think that's what we're talking here. I have Daniel Cormier.
Wow. Okay. You actually surprised me on that one. I will admit, not one of my finalists. Probably should have been. I thought about Demetrius Johnson, who broke the streak for most title defenses, broke Anderson Silva's streak. Of course, thought about Khabib Nurmagomedov, still undefeated, undisputed, dominant. And in the end, Chael, I just kept going back to John Jones. I kept going back to John Jones, and I honestly broke all of my rules in doing this because I tend to not lean towards someone for one of these pound-for-pound awards or best ever awards if they have a PD infraction, and multiple ones in his case. But in the end, if you look at the actual body of work and the things that he did in the cage and how long he has been dominant for, I mean, essentially he was knocking on that door at the beginning of the decade. He is still the champ. Here we are starting a new decade. I felt like I had to go with John Jones. Did I get this one wrong?
No, I don't totally disagree with you. And I understand your argument about the PEDs, and this maybe is coming from a former PED user, by the way, so I'm a little biased. But John did go dirty, but John also went clean. And whether you want to weigh that or not, when you talk about the body of work, there was a body of work. And even if he lived on the wrong side of the tracks a couple of times, he lived on the right side of the tracks. And if we're being fair in the assessment, look, the guy's dynamic. There's no way around it. And Ariel, to your point about John Jones, he's one of these rare guys that's cleaned out 3 generations. If you'll remember, when he was 21 and 22 years old, he was fighting the rampages of the world. He was taking out some of the guys of yesteryear, but then he went into the Rashad Evans of the world, took out his generation, and now he's going on to the next gen, the Anthony Smiths of the world. So it's a very good pick, and it's very hard to ever argue against John Jones.
All right. Okay. But I do like your Cormier pick, by the way. I do like that very much. And I think he has been somewhat forgotten because of the fact that he won the light heavyweight title when John Jones was out. But in the end, I see a lot of people picking DJ. I see a lot of people picking Khabib. I think worth mentioning also George St Pierre, who won the middleweight title and walked away after that, and also walked away after retaining the welterweight title. Okay, here's another tough one for you, Chael. Another very, very controversial one in my opinion. I'm dying to know who you pick. Female Fighter of the Decade. Who'd you pick?
Okay, so twofold, but Fighter of the Decade. This isn't most impactful. You're getting to that. Fighter of the Decade. You can't go against Amanda. Come on, the greatest of all time, the greatest woman to ever done it. And I have to go back to my original argument. This champ thing is very real. For her to cover that spread, for her to be given that opportunity. Not to mention, if you look at some of the past work with the Bullet herself, I mean, this is really remarkable. If you were to come to the table with any pound-for-pound list or even a divisional, who the greatest of all time is, you're going to have an argument. If you come to the table with who the greatest greatest female fighter of all time is, and you don't say Amanda, you're going to look foolish. You're going to lose credibility, Helwani.
Okay, so what about the argument that Chris Cyborg was undefeated for so long, and that Amanda, at one point in this past decade, she was 3-3. She was a 500 fighter. She was nowhere near, fighting for any kind of belt. She was losing to the likes of Sarah D'Alelio. What about that? It's not so much how you ended it, but the entire body of work. Did you consider Cyborg as well?
I fully agree with that, but I do think it is about how you end it. I subscribe to it's not how you start a race, it's how you finish the race. And yes, of course, you look at Cyborg, and I would even put Cyborg as far as number 2. But when you have your debate and they had a head-to-head competition, Ariel, I think it's pretty clear. And by the way, I don't subscribe to the theory that Cyborg is past her prime or fought Amanda at the wrong time. I don't agree with that in the slightest. Cyborg's about to fight for a world championship, for goodness sakes. Don't tell me she was past her prime. That was a fair contest. Amanda won.
All right, so this one I actually agree with you on. I think it is Amanda Nunes, considering the fact that she beat Miesha Tate. She has the 2 wins over Valentina Shevchenko. She has the knockout of Ronda Rousey, and of course retired her as well. Has the knockout over Chris Cyborg. Has the finish recently over Jermaine Durandamy. First person to knock Holly Holm out in an MMA fight. Again, to your point, because I've seen a lot of people say, oh, it should be Cyborg because she was undefeated for the majority of the decade. It really is how you finish in many respects. And they fought each other, and she finished her in less than a minute. So how do you not go with Amanda Nunes? So we'll agree on this particular one. All right, now let's move along to male impact fighter of the decade. And what I mean by impact, and I have a feeling that you took it the same way. What I mean by impact is someone who just kind of changed the sport from a business perspective, from a fight perspective, someone that had truly the most impactful decade of any other fighter. Now we're talking about the males. We have a female one as well, but first let's focus on the males. Who'd you pick male impact fighter of the decade?
All right, Conor McGregor, and I know you love the decade thing, and you might not love that I say this because he doesn't span all the way back to 2009. And yes, I know what decade means, but Ariel, this guy was impactful. I mean, this guy made some waves. He came in his very first fight, announces into the microphone that Dana owes him a fight of the night bonus. Dana agreed, gave it to him. His next fight, I happened to fight on the card with him. His second fight ever in the UFC, I was in the card. He was undercard, but people in the arena were dressed like him. They were holding signs for him. They had made T-shirts for him. This was his second fight. By the way, Helwani, his third fight, he sold out an arena as a main event. Nobody has impacted the sport this quickly, aside from Brock Lesnar, but nobody has impacted it more than Conor McGregor.
Okay, let me ask you this. Did you even consider anyone else for this particular award?
Okay, Helwani.
Yes?
Helwani, I got a technical issue. What did you ask me?
Did you even consider anyone else? Did anyone even come close to Conor for this particular award?
No, absolutely not. Particularly when you put it in the category of male.
Right.
When you have female, I think you have a little bit more of a discussion. When you put it in the category of male, no, absolutely not. Look, he's moved the needle, Ariel. I used to have a couple of UFC records to brag a little bit. I lost them all. I lost them all to Conor McGregor. After I lost them, he came in, beat his own record, and beat his own record again. He has the live gate in 3 categories. He is the fastest sellout in 2 categories, one of which he just did for his pending fight with Cowboy Cerrone. He's got pay-per-view. This guy does everything. I live in the digital space, so do you. We see what his numbers do. No, numbers don't lie. That's what an impact is. It goes to Conor.
By the way, what were the other records that you had that he eventually broke?
Okay, I had the live gate record. Anderson Silva and I, part 2, did the live gate of 7.4 million. It was the highest in the industry at that time. It was the highest in Nevada at that time for mixed martial. He came in and crushed it. He actually beat it versus Chad Mendez. He came in and beat it again versus Jose Aldo, and now he's beat it again against Cowboy Cerrone, and that's just off the top of my head.
Okay, fair enough. By the way, did you think maybe like a collared shirt or something? You know, it's such a big day for me and the show. Like, just not like a T-shirt. Do you think maybe a collared shirt would have been nice on the awards?
I must tell you, once I sat down and saw how fantastic yes, I do think we could have done like a Step Brothers type routine if you're familiar with the movie, and I could have come in a nice 3-piece as well.
Yeah, I mean, because I remember you were on the show last year, so maybe not a surprise. But listen, I want you to be you. I want you to be comfortable. I know you have to go mow the lawn after this, so I don't want you to get too dressed up after this particular one. Of course, I have to agree with you on this one. It's Conor McGregor, and to be honest, as you just essentially said, it's very hard to think of anyone else. Yeah, you could go with John Jones. He had a great year. Yeah, you could go with, GSP. Khabib is making an impact, but no one has ever made the kind of impact that Conor has made. I would say that he is the biggest draw in the history of the sport. I think the facts would back that up. I would say he is the face of the sport, despite the fact that he hasn't fought in a little over a year. His last fight was in October of 2018. I would also say that he is still the most popular fighter despite all the controversies in the sport right now. And I think a lot of people are jonesing to see him back. I do think there's one little difference this time around. I'm wondering if you've noticed it. I've noticed that the fans aren't 100% in. Like I'm noticing a big. I want to see it before I get back on the bandwagon. Let's wait and see. Before we're fully back on his bandwagon, I'm noticing a lot of fans being a little trepidatious about being back as a Conor McGregor fan. Are you noticing that as well from the people?
I do see it, Ariel, but I just have to remind you, this is a law of physics. What goes up must come down. So to act as though Conor's not going to look like a stock market and have some waves and some balances and some peaks and some valleys, look, of course he's going to. However, there is a big pushback and a big question. Are people even going to come out for Conor? Has Conor lost all of his fans? Listen, they sold out T-Mobile Arena for a $10 million gate in what, and I quote, minutes. We just can't argue with this. To act as though people aren't here and there isn't some intrigue. He also has the number one business rule in the world, which is supply and demand. He's been out for a little bit. Conor is red hot.
And a closet, or maybe not even a closet anymore, a closet big Ariel the Bad Guy fan. I'm told from his people he never misses an episode. And it's more because of you than it is because of me. So I'm sure you'd be very excited about that. How about female Impact Fighter of the Decade? Who'd you go with?
Okay, now this one goes to Ronda Rousey because for all the same reasons that I stated about Conor, when it just comes down to numbers. Look, a lot of what Ronda did was self-serving, but I don't blame her for that, Ariel. I say this as a fellow fighter. Everything we do is self-serving. If you leave something behind for the sport or you leave it better than you found it, that was just a byproduct of you trying to get yourself over. I think that a lot of the Ronda story was embellished. She was never the biggest star. She's never held a single record in the UFC. However, if we're being fair, who was the most likely athlete to end up on Ellen DeGeneres' couch? Who was the most likely to get on Jay Leno to get a message out? It was Ronda Rousey. May I name drop for you real fast? I sat and watched her fight Sarah McMahon. I was shoulder to shoulder with Will Smith. Will Smith was the most bankable and biggest star in all of Hollywood. I looked at him, I introduced myself, and I said, by the way, what brings you here? He throws his thumb up and points to his wife and says, my wife's a huge Ronda fan. She made me come out. She had to see Ronda fight in person. That's impactful. That's meaningful. That moves the needle. And that's something that she can leave behind for the other people to help pick up. I think she deserves a lot of credit for her career.
I'm happy you told us that story because for those who haven't seen Ariel the Bad Guy, you're good for at least one or two name drops each and every show. So there we go. We can cross that one off the list. I agree with you. It has to be Ronda Rousey. Let me ask you, though, the way she ended. You talk about, it's not about how you start, how you finish. The unceremonious exit, the two knockouts, the fact that she kind of just took her ball and went home. Did that at least come to mind when you were making this choice?
No, because I wasn't looking at his best fighter. I do admit I never thought that Ronda was the best fighter in the world. The division was just forming. She was in the right place at the right time. And that sounds insulting, but that's the way I see it. Ariel, I think she actually deserves a compliment. When she took her ball and went home, as you put it, I think that actually left a message. I think that decision looked kind of like a fine wine, and it got better with time in this way. When you've had enough in this sport, get out of it. Whether that means opening up your spot on the roster, or in her case, her spot in title fights and main events and giving that chance to somebody else, or just for her own sanity and physicality, if it's not what you want to do anymore, get out of the way. Don't go 1 foot in and 1 foot out. I think Ronda's decision, while judged and criticized at the time, I think it looks better with age, and I think that she made the right decision and helped to set a good example.
Interesting. All right. Fascinating analysis there from Chel P. I agree with you on that one. Okay, here's one more as far as the Of the Decade awards are concerned. A tough one because there are so many to choose from, so many different promotions, so many great fighters, so many great fights. In the end, there has to be one. Your fight of the decade. What was it?
Okay. Ariel, one term I've learned from you through 2019 is recency bias, and it's also something so true, and I have to admit that's a very real thing, and I'm very guilty of making the statement, Ariel, that was the best fight I've ever seen. a week later, Ariel, that was the best fight I've ever seen. But Ariel, it's been true. The sport's been getting better. The athletes have been getting better. The competition is getting closer and closer. And even though that is fall into the category of recency bias, I also think that it's accurate. I'm going Korean Zombie versus Yair Rodriguez. Not only is the best fight of the decade, as the best fight in the history of mixed martial arts.
Wow. That is quite a statement. That is an amazing statement. Now, I like the fact that you had to actually point to your ear. Is this your new thing to remind yourself that it's not Yair? Yair.
It's very hard for me to not put an extra R in there. May I tell you, just on a side note, do you know what? I have that fight as the number 1 fight of all time. Do you want to know what my number 2 fight is? You have to go back and see this. This is going to surprise you. Robbie Lawler fought at 19 years old, fought another 19-year-old named Aaron Riley. And it was in like 1999. I mean, this is way back. I was in college. That, at the time, I believed was the best fight. I think that fight is still the number 2 fight of all time that never got its credit.
Wow, okay. I like that. Perhaps people can find that one on Fight Pass or online. Great fight that you just mentioned. Great finish, of course. Fight of the decade, not sure about that. In the end, I will go. So we'll agree on this. My fight of the decade was also my best fight, my favorite fight of all time in UFC and MMA history. It is Jon Jones versus Aleksandr Gustafsson, UFC 165. The first one, of course, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, September of 2013. The Air Canada Centre, now known as Scotiabank Arena. This, to me, Chael, was such an amazing fight to watch in person for a couple reasons. We had never seen Jon that vulnerable in a fight before. He had never been taken down in a fight before. You'll recall in the first round, Gustafsson out of nowhere takes him down. You'll recall going into that fight, no one gave Gustafsson a chance. Perhaps you recall going into that fight, the promotion for it was very bizarre. It was all about how tall Gustafsson was and how long he was. There was nothing to really say about this relatively unknown Swedish fighter. He comes out there with a great game plan, and it looks for a second like he might actually be stealing the victory. And of course, in the fourth round, the spinning back elbow rocks him, and that perhaps saves the day for Jon Jones. The great photo afterwards of them together at the hospital. But can I tell you my favorite thing about that particular fight, Chael? Several years later, 3 or so years later, I was interviewing Jon Jones, and this was after his hit and run accident. And he was talking about all the transgressions and all the mess ups. And he told me that that week in Toronto, he partied like he had never partied before a fight. He was driving miles away from the host hotel to go do stuff and party. And he told me when he was walking out that night for that fight, he told himself, I can't believe I'm about to lose my title. I can't believe I didn't take this seriously. I can't believe I did this to myself. So if you go back and watch the fight, you can try to see the doubt in his eyes and the fear. It's kind of there if you know the story and look at it. In the end, he wins it. I just love the drama in that fight from start to finish.
And Ariel, that was one of the nights where everybody else that wanted to fight Jon Jones, everybody else in the division stood back and goes, oh no. Because here was the belief on Jon Jones. We recognized he was the best fighter. So then the question was, well, is he the toughest? If it's true that he's partying like he admits, if it's true that he's not in the gym and focused in training as his teammates will state behind his back, then it must also be true that should this fight go long and get gritty and dirty, he simply can't hold up. I mean, that's just logic. False. Turned out Jon Jones was the best fighter and the toughest fighter. And you never have to be both, Ariel. You can win world and Olympic championships either being the best or being the toughest. Nobody's ever the both. Jon Jones proved how tough he is in that fight with Gus.
The other one that comes to mind, of course, UFC 139. At least for me, your guy, Dan Henderson, Shogun, who what an amazing fight. They had a second one as well, but the first one, to me, one of the all-time greats. Chael, this was a lot of fun. Thank you for joining me. You don't often join me on a Monday. This is good on a Monday. We should do this on Mondays and Wednesdays. Maybe we should do it every day. Who knows?
I appreciate it, Helwani. By the way, I want to tell you, just so I get my credit, about 5 minutes ago, my earpiece went out. I've been happy to read your lips. I think I've done a good job. I think I've answered your questions. But if for any reason I went in a direction you didn't take me, now you know why. I'm not that good of a lip reader.
Wow, this is amazing. So kind of like every Wednesday, you don't actually listen to what I have to say. You just go in, for yourself and do the business on your own. And you kind of live on the island. You did a great job. I don't even know if you hear me now. Do you hear me? Yes?
I don't answer questions, Helwani. I handle questions. So really, in the words of The Rock, it doesn't matter what you said, Helwani.
I love you too, Chael. I'll talk to you on Wednesday. There he is, my good friend, Chael P. Sonnen, joins me each and every Wednesday on ESPN Plus, of course, the platform that we built with our hands. off our back, ESPN Plus, every Wednesday, Ariel and the Bad Guy. And by the way, next week for the Cerrone McGregor fight, we're going to be all over that place in Vegas together. I can't wait. It's going to be a great time. For now, though, we shall move along. And I had so much trouble with the male fight of the year. I had so much trouble. And there's a few other ones that I'm kind of dreading. In fact, the next one I'm kind of dreading as well because I had trouble with this one. I really did. Female Fighter of the Year. So many great nominees, so many great choices. In case you don't know, here they are.
2019 Female Fighter of the Year. Amanda Nunes, UFC Women's Bantamweight and Featherweight Champion. Looking to repeat in this category, Nunes continued her dominance, successfully defending her Bantamweight title twice, first versus Holly Holm, then versus Germaine de Randamie. 2019 helped cement GOAT status for the Lioness. Valentina Shevchenko, UFC's Women's Flightweight Champion. After claiming the title in December of 2018, the Bullet started her reign by defeating Jessica Ai via a vicious head kick back in June. Then, followed that up with a technical victory over Liz Carmouche. Zhang Weili, UFC Strawweight Champion. After shooting onto the UFC scene in 2018, Zhang followed that up by defeating Tecia Torres in May. She then knocked out Jessica Andrade in her home country and became the first Chinese champion in UFC history. Those are your 2019 Female Fighter of the Year nominees.
So as you can see, all great choices, all great fighters, all great years. Another one worth mentioning, Kayla Harrison had a phenomenal year. She ends the year as the 155-pound PFL champion. What a great year for her. And what a great year for all those fighters. Zhang Weili making history. Amanda Nunes cementing her place. Maybe she even cemented it last year, for being honest. But the win over Holly Holm and Germaine de Randamie was great. And, of course, Valentina Shevchenko with that amazing knockout of Jessica Ai, among the other things that she did. But in the end, I had to go with the way in which Zhang Weili beat Jessica Andrade, how quick she beat her, and also the history that she made. And that wasn't her only win, of course, of this past year. She is now the new UFC Women's Strawweight Champion, and more importantly, she is the 2019 Helwani Nose Award winner for Female Fighter of the Year. Here's another look, and a closer look by my man Alex at the year that Zhang Weili had.
China. My name is Wei Li, number B. I'm calling, you're falling. I need you, beseech you. Can you hear me breathe? I'm fading.
The first Chinese-born champion in UFC history, one of 11 UFC female fighters to go 2-0 or better this past year, plus 58 significant strike difference in her fight. Second quickest finish in UFC women's fight in 2019, 42 seconds over Jessica Andrade. 10th quickest finish in a UFC title fight, third among females. And she started the year as the number 15 ranked female strawweight in the UFC. She ends the year as the champion. What a year. Also a contender, of course, for Breakout Fighter of the Year, but she was a little more well-known last year than Jairzinho Rozenstruik, who won that award. She is our 2019 Female Fighter of the Year. It is the middle of the night in China. She couldn't be on live, but she did send us this. Take a listen from Zhang Weili.
Hello, Ariel. Thank you for the award. It's been a great year for me and China in this beautiful sport. It's an absolute honor to win the 2019 Helwani Nose Award for Female Fighter of the Year. Thank you very much for all of the support. See you in March. 新年快乐.
Zhang Weili, that was amazing. With her dog, who made an appearance on the show last year as well, doing it in English. And this is very important. People will just overlook the English part, but she is actively learning how to speak English. You can see the strides that she has made. This is going to be massive for her. We have seen this with fighters before. The fighters who take the time to speak English, to learn just a little bit, they become a lot more popular. There's no doubt about that. And she's doing that. She returns to action March 7th against the former queen of the strawweights, Joanna Jędrzejczyk. What a great fight that's going to be in Las Vegas. Congratulations, Zhang Weili, on a phenomenal year and on making history. And thank you very much for the video as well. All right, now let's move along to one of my favorites. Each and every year we like to highlight, like I said, not just the fights themselves, but the other things going on in the sport that makes the sport of mixed martial arts so much fun. Another one of those categories, promo of the year. And this one may have been the easiest of them all. There was only one contender. There was only one who deserved to win. It was, of course, Nathan Diaz. After his win over Anthony Pettis in Anaheim, he got on the microphone and he pretty much ignored what Joe Rogan had to say. And he pretty much said, I am creating a new belt. It is called the BMF title. And I'm going to defend this thing against Jorge Masvidal. He just created this out of nowhere. No one made an impact with his words, with his time on the microphone. No one had the foresight to do what he did. This is classic Nate Diaz. You see the smile on Jorge's face. He could have picked anyone and the fight would have made sense. It would have been big business. It would have sold out Madison Square Garden, which this did, which, you know, it made all that money from the gate and the pay-per-view and all that stuff. He killed it. Promo of the year winner, 2019. Helwani knows. Nathan Diaz, congratulations. I know he's very proud of that. In fact, he wrote me on Instagram. He slid in my DMs. He told me he should have won male fighter, female fighter, submission, knockout, fighter of the decade, all those things. He won. He thought he won all of them, and then I told him it was promo and asked him for an acceptance speech, and I'm still waiting for the acceptance speech. So congratulations, Nathan Diaz. Now, how about this? This is a very fun day. We had a surprise appearance from Chael P. You know how we like to do it on this show. We like to have surprises for you, and there was one man who appeared on this program more than anyone last year. 10 appearances. It was incredible. Highs and lows. He was making history. Then he retired in the middle. He actually came and visited us in studio. Remember that before his big wrestling match against Jordan Burroughs? Let's say hello to the one and only funky Ben Askren, who's here. Wow, this is amazing. Your microphone's down there, Mr. Ben.
Man, you have the mic set up for me, Ariel?
Well, you know, I have people who do those sorts of things.
All right. I guess we need that big a hug.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Wow, Ben.
Right.
I feel like you didn't really want to hug me there.
My wife yells at me because I'm not a hugger.
I'm a horrible hugger as well, but I just felt like, you know, you made the effort. You said to me, you know, I know you're doing the awards, and you also said that, you know, I appeared on your show so many times. You helped boost our ratings so many times. You said you had to fly from Wisconsin to be here today. Is that?
Well, I mean, I sure, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and thank you for getting dressed up for this big day.
You got it. Well, you know, I didn't know this was a dress-up day.
Well, look at me. What do you think?
Yeah, New York Rick told me he's wearing a tuxedo, and I said, "Damn, I only got a T-shirt, dog."
Yeah, but it is a nice T-shirt.
I really like it. But
is that from Rocky?
Yeah, Apollo Creed was in Rocky.
Yeah, wasn't there a Creed?
You ever seen that?
You want to know something about me?
Right, if you tell the audience right now you've never seen Rocky, you're gonna lose half your audience.
I've never seen Rocky.
Oh, which one? All of them?
All of them. But I did see Creed. I saw Creed. Like the
Ariel.
Yeah.
Why on God's green earth have you not watched Rocky? Any of them?
I was too busy watching, you know, pro wrestling as a kid, sporting events. I wasn't into the movies.
But it's not a movie. It's Rocky. It was like a cultural phenomenon.
I'm a little bit ashamed.
You should really do. You know what you should really do? You should really do some type of Rocky marathon where you watch Rockies 1 through 5. 5's not that good. You could probably go 1 through 4, and then come on the next week and just talk about that.
Like it's some new movie that just came out.
Like maybe this week. I mean, there's not anything that exciting going on this weekend. Right. You could probably watch all weekend. You just watch Rocky 1 through 4. Come on next week and talk about it.
I have kids like you, Ben. I can't even get 10 minutes to myself. You think?
I'm sure they'd love Rocky. How old are they?
7, 5, and 3.
Ooh, the 3-year-old maybe not. I think 7, 5-year-old probably watch Rocky,
maybe.
not the 3-year-old.
By the way, it is freezing outside. In fact, it is snowing. Last I checked, and you're
not snowing. It's sunny. It's beautiful. I brought it.
You're wearing flip-flops.
That's what I do.
Show the world. Look at that. Actual flip-flops.
That's why
you don't
I wear flip-flops.
You don't regret this?
No,
you don't.
It's nice out.
There's not a part of you that's like, you know what, socks would be nice right now.
If it's really cold in Wisconsin and the snow's deeper, right? See the sandal has this thickness. If the snow is deeper than that, I will wear slippers. But if it's like this much snow, no big deal.
What do you mean by slippers? Like furry ones?
Yeah, like warm, nice slippers. I have them in my backpack here. They're in my backpack.
Okay. And do you have multiple sandals? Just out of curiosity.
Yeah, I have 3 or 4.
3 or 4. Same kind.
Yeah, this is a nice company called Toehold. Shout out to them. They made me some personal. It actually says, I kind of word out, but it says funky on here. I don't know if you can see that right there. Yes.
Okay. By the way, since we're kind of recapping the year, last time we spoke, of course, you announced your retirement.
Yeah.
First things first, how is the hip feeling? Have you had the surgery yet?
No, I don't. I'm pushing it off till August because
August.
you can't do anything for 6 weeks, and I coach wrestling, right? So it's actually better because now if it hurts my hip, I just don't do it, right? Whereas when you're training for MMA, you just do what you need to do.
Okay.
And so if it bugs me, I just stay off of it. So all I do is like yoga, I ride a bike.
Okay.
And that's about it.
Now, what about, I see you training with Macy Barber.
Yep. Well, I don't actually like train with her. I coach her, maybe step in, help show a technique. Or,
you don't have to, there's never a moment where you feel like you're kind of a little bit restricted. You can't really show her what you want to show her. You're good.
No, I'm good for the most part.
Okay.
Yeah.
How's she doing?
She's awesome.
Yeah.
Fantastic. She's going to blast Roxy, I think. And then I think she's going to get a title shot by the end of the year. That's my prediction.
So this time next year, she will have fought for the belt?
She'll be the champion.
You think so?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's a bold prediction.
Is that bold? Really? You feel like that's bold? I feel like when I look at her. Okay,
what weight class, by the way, are we going with? 125?
125.
Okay, yeah.
Correct. Yeah. I mean, so she'll
know
probably fight Roxy, then maybe Jessica I is somewhere in that range, and then probably for the title.
You think she could beat Valentina now?
On January 6th. What day are we on? January 6th. Okay. I don't know, it'd be tough, but November might be a different story. She's only 21. She's getting a lot better really fast.
That is incredible.
Yeah.
Any part of you that regrets the decision to retire? Any part of you that says,
no,
I wish I had one more year?
I mean, can I go back to 2013 and be young and healthy again? Sure, that would be nice, but you can't. So no, I don't regret anything.
Okay, and there's no part of you that's like, 2013. I wish I went into the UFC at 2013.
I didn't have that option.
Okay,
Ariel.
I know.
Damn it! How many times are you gonna recap?
I know.
Wasn't my choice.
Okay.
Wasn't my choice. You gotta ask your best friend Dana why that happened.
All right.
I don't know. Stir in the pot. When are you guys gonna get a better terms? Even I'm on decent terms with Dana. What are you doing?
I know. Can you put in a good word for me? That would be nice. I mean, I've tried. Text messages. What are those things? Edible arrangements.
You send him. Is that illegal to send marijuana over state lines?
Like the
edibles?
No, the fruit with the chocolate.
That.
Maybe not a fan. Let me ask you, when you think back to 2019 for you personally, highs and lows, right? I mean, what an emotional year, a roller coaster.
Oh my gosh.
Who'd have thought by the end you would be retired?
Yeah.
How do you view,
I actually thought I was going to be retired by the end. But
you did?
It would have been retired I would have had the belt. Then I would
Really? That was the plan?
Yeah.
The plan was to win the belt?
We talked about this. Don't you remember?
Listen, sometimes I can't assume that everyone watches all our
Do you
interviews.
really do? Someone told me you do 4 hours on Monday. I guess I just didn't realize it was that long.
What, you thought the show ended when we hung up?
Well, I knew you had multiple guests. I guess if you said, Ben, hey, well, how long's the Ariel show? I would have said, I think it's about 2 hours. That would have been my guess, just my gut feeling. I thought maybe like a 1 to 3 o'clock spot, something like that.
It used to be longer. It used to be like till 6 in the old days.
Like how 4.5 hours? You guys, like I was on the other MMA journalist who you don't like to bring up, and he has a long show.
I don't know. Yeah, you could bring up anyone.
Rogan, right?
What do you mean?
You don't like him either?
You think I have beef with Rogan?
Yes, you got beef.
Rogan's been great to me.
Okay, anyways.
What
I was on there for 2.5 hours. I don't know how you don't pee for that long. Like, that's a long time to not pee. Don't you stay
hydrated?
hydrated?
Commentator personality, right? I don't think he would call himself a journalist.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, right? I think
he's prolific.
The definitions around journalists have probably kind of expanded these days.
I'm curious.
How do you pee? How do you not pee for that long?
I don't want to. I like the controversy. Why do you think I don't like him?
No, because you said that to me.
No, I didn't say that.
Yeah, you definitely did.
The only thing I don't like about what Rogan did back in the day was when he spread a lie about something that happened.
He lied about you?
Yeah.
What? I don't even know this.
I called him out on it. Anyway,
what? Tell me. You gotta say.
No, he told the wrong story about what happened with the whole 199 thing. Anyway, we don't need to talk about that. Let's focus on the here and now. Let's focus on this past year because we're giving out awards.
You could say if you sent Joe an edible arrangement, he'd be pumped.
He would love it. He would absolutely love it. Maybe I'd get an invite on the
there
great
you go.
podcast.
Have you never been on?
Never been on.
You should really go on. That would be a good. Yeah, it would be a fun discussion.
I appreciate that.
Okay.
Thank you. It's a vote of confidence.
Did UFC have a show in LA this year? Because you could maybe go on afterwards.
Not that I know of. Will you put in the good word?
Yeah.
Joe, I think you should have Ariel. He's had my uncle on a few times. But
you know who I think is very pertinent? I think Ricky Gervais should go on there. But then I tweeted that last night because of his outburst, and I thought it'd be fantastic to give him a longer space to say what the hell he wanted. And someone told me him and Joe hate each other because Ricky hates hunters, and Joe is obviously an avid hunter. So I guess there's heat there.
By the way, that wasn't an outburst. You of all people know the difference between a work and a shoot. That was a work.
Are you sure?
It was a work. You don't think he's clearing that beforehand?
He was shooting a little bit though.
It was a work shoot.
How do you know?
It's an award show. You think NBC's just going to
cut him off? They were going to cut him off?
That's the beauty of it. You remember the CM Punk moment in Las Vegas, the pipe bomb? You don't think they really knew what he was
But did we
say?
really know that they had his full dialogue before he went out there? Do you think so?
I'd like to think so.
Because now at this point, with what he said, they can't really cut him, right? Because then they'll know, okay, this is vindictive, this is bitter, by whoever. So because after what he said, you can't do that.
I think part of his appeal is like, I don't really care.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be back. He says that every year, and this was his 5th time back.
Oh, I didn't say. If you asked me how many Golden Globes he's been on, I said, I don't have to know.
Yeah.
I don't watch that garbage.
He says it. No, neither do I, but I saw everyone talking about it. So if you don't watch it, how did you know?
I saw the clips on Twitter. That's how you see everything. You know what I don't want to make you mad or anything,
Oh, here we go.
but I was talking to some people around here today.
Yeah.
And, I said, I've never... About who?
About me.
Oh, everything good. Actually, everyone loves you for some reason. I don't know why.
I know. It's weird.
I said I'd never watched an entire Ariel and the Bad Guy.
Wow.
Ever. But I've watched hundreds of clips, right? Because, that's what happens, right? It goes on social media. Hey, this looks interesting. Click on it. Watch 3 minutes, whatever. And then, move on to the next topic. But I've never watched the entire thing.
I feel like as a friend of Chael's, you probably would have been inclined.
I listened to his podcast.
Okay.
Until,
You subscribe to ESPN Plus?
Yes, I do. Okay. Yep. But you know what Chael talks about? I'll give Chael some feedback. He might get mad at me. He talks about damn Conor and Floyd too much. When he starts talking about Conor and Floyd again,
Still?
I just oh my God, Ariel, it's
Come on.
terrible. I start fast forwarding. He starts talking about Conor and Floyd, fast forward.
Why? I mean, I'm kind of exposing that I don't listen.
I don't know. You don't listen to Chael's podcast?
Not frequently.
Oh, Chael's going to be so salty.
Well, he does the same to me. He doesn't listen to my stuff.
He talks
Why
about
would that
Conor and
even-
Floyd probably 80 times in the last year.
Really?
Oh my
In
God.
the last year?
Oh my God. It comes
How could
up
it be
so much.
relevant?
Dude, he brings it up
All right.
all
I'll
the
check
time.
that out. So we're giving out awards, and I'd like to
Yeah.
get some of yours. Can I get some of yours?
Yeah, sure.
Well, let me ask you.
Well, I don't know what you've already given away.
Well,
so-
it doesn't matter. These are just yours.
Oh, mine. I don't have a nose award. Do I have anything I can give away?
No, these are the Funky Awards.
Okay.
Very brief little intermission in the middle of our show, like in Ryzen. I just gave out the female fighter of the year. Who was yours?
Oh, Weili Zhang.
Yeah?
Yes.
Easy? Not Amanda Nunes knocking out, Holly
I
Holm.
feel like Amanda's second, and maybe we're less impressed with Amanda because Amanda's already achieved a very high level performance over the last whatever years, so we kind of come to expect it out of her. But the GDR fight was kind of she just kind of took her down, beat her up, and it wasn't really all that dramatic or exciting. And so, yeah, maybe there's just a level of expectation there. I mean, I think if you went with Amanda, I don't know that anyone would say, you're really wrong on that. That's a terrible pick. How did you do that?
Right.
But I think there's something with Weili Zhang coming, kind of, I don't want to say coming out of nowhere, but, she wasn't on our radar at this time last year, and now she's a big star.
What about male fighter of the year?
Oh, gosh. You can put it up. I already told you. It's freaking George, and I'd like to pick Israel Adesanya over him, but I think
Why?
I think that would be. I feel like that'd be disingenuous. If I have to look at it from a non-biased perspective, it's freaking George. And if you said that was going to happen a year ago, everyone would have said you're on drugs,
Right.
Or have some type of issue. But unfortunately, I think he deserves it.
Does it hurt you to give him that?
No, it doesn't hurt me. No, it's what that's what it is, right? That's the truth. That's the reality situation. Doesn't hurt at all. Now, does it feel good? No, it doesn't feel good either. But it's not. That's what happened.
What about knockout of the year?
I can't pick him for that. That would just be too far. So I picked Valentina over Jaskai. Yes.
Yeah, I mean his knockout wasn't that good, to be honest. There it is. There it is. By the way, thank you for those. Just wondering. I know you've been very critical of Kamaru and Colby. You got to give him props after that fight, right?
I called it.
What do you mean you called it?
I said it was going to be a great fight.
You did.
Yeah, absolutely.
Broken
it's on
jaw?
video. It's on video.
Okay.
And I said that. Well, because here's what I figured, Errol. Now, I didn't think it's guaranteed it's going to be a showstopper, but I figured that wrestling would nullify each other. They're not going to wrestle each other, right? So you really have two options then. They're going to stand there and punch each other, or they're going to push each other against the cage for 25 minutes. And those were really the two options of what I thought was going to happen. And they stood there and punched each other for 25 minutes. So, yeah, it was a pretty good fight.
It was great.
Absolutely.
Did you think that it was tied going into the fifth?
I think I had it. Yeah, I believe I had
That was a big
2-2.
controversy.
Yeah.
Who do you think Usman fights next? Do you think he gets?
I think I might have 3-1 Usman. I don't know. It was either 2-2 or 3-1. Yeah.
You think he fights Conor? You see these comments?
No, absolutely not. Here's what's going to happen. Conor's going to beat up Cowboy.
Yeah.
Okay. And then what you do, the three pieces fall into place. You're going to go, Conor's going to fight George because that's a bigger fight.
Okay.
Period.
After Cerrone.
Yeah. So he's defending Cerrone 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Conor's going to fight Masvidal.
Okay.
That's a much bigger fight than Usman. And Khabib's not booked till April, right? So he's not going to sit around and wait that long.
Yep.
He's going to make, as soon as his fight's over, he's going to make some type of call. It's probably going to be George. Then what's going to happen is Colby and Tyron are going to fight. Leon Edwards is going to get a title shot against Usman.
Wow.
It's the only way that you can arrange all those pieces and make them make sense.
Okay.
I mean, if for some reason Conor doesn't call out George or Conor loses possibly, then I believe Masvidal will fight Usman for the title. But why do you think Masvidal's been so quiet since December 14th? Well, he's been quiet because he knows Conor is an infinitely bigger fight than Usman is. I mean, there's just not a lot of excitement around Usman. And listen, I from day one, I didn't say he was a bad fighter. I said he was a great fighter, but he's also annoying and his personality is just not there. So I believe is not. You can't say that. People will be mad at you, but his personality leaves a lot to be desired. So I think Conor calls out George. I think that happens. I think Edwards versus Usman, and I think Colby versus Tyron. That's my prediction.
Who wins, Masvidal or Conor?
Masvidal. Damn it. He's the biggest star in the UFC then, isn't he? WTF. How did that happen, Ariel?
You helped make that happen. You helped make that happen.
Oh, it's unfortunate. Yeah, well, I don't know if I
the
should
better
take
he
pride.
does, the better it looks for you, right?
Really?
Well, if
There's no way getting knocked out in 5 seconds look good.
Listen.
You can only listen. You could put lipstick on a pig. It's still a pig, Ariel.
If he would have gotten knocked out by Nate Diaz, then it would have made the knockout worse. The better he is, it's like in football. Like
I don't know. It's not like
It's
not like I lost a close fight or lost over the course of it. It was like it was one thing. Like it happened in 5 seconds. Like there's just I don't feel like there's any way to dress it up. That was just what happened.
The better he does along the way, it's like the team that wins the Super Bowl. If you lost to that team,
but it's not like I had a competitive fight. It happened less than 5 seconds. It was one move.
All right, fair enough.
Okay.
All right. You have a lot of busy. You have a busy schedule here. You have a lot of plans.
I do. I already had like 9 meetings. Actually, you know what? After this, I get a little break. I'm gonna go to my computer and do some work in the
What's
cafeteria.
your work consist of?
I got so much on my plate. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, my brother and I, we're opening academies 4 and 5 this spring. We formed a holding company to own all of them, and so there's all this stuff. We're building. We bought another building. We're probably building another building. So a lot going on in life.
Do you want to give me your fight of the year this past year? I skipped that one.
Izzy KG.
Izzy KG.
Izzy KG. Yeah, that was it was a really good fight. I think Izzy is going to be a huge superstar. I've said that before.
Yep.
I think I see that coming. I think we're in a period where we're going to have kind of a superstar turnover, right? Where there's kind of a new crop coming up, and the older crop is kind of fading. I think we obviously by Daniel Cormier retire in 2020, and we see a whole bunch of new stars emerge.
It's nice to see you here. You can stop by any time.
I appreciate that.
Why do you laugh when I say that? I was being very sincere.
You know what? There's something sometimes when you say things.
Me personally?
Yes. When you, Ariel, say things.
It comes off as insincere?
It's kind of dismissive, and it's kind of I find it kind of funny. I think it's kind of dismissive when you say it, and I don't know if you actually mean to be dismissive, or maybe you do. I don't know if it's a work or a shoot. Maybe it's who knows.
I am genuinely happy that you were on the show today.
Okay.
It wouldn't have been the same without you.
I appreciate that.
Thank you for doing this.
Absolutely.
All right, you can go to the cafeteria.
Taking me off?
Now. Yes, this is it. I was told you have a very tight schedule and you have places to be. There are the Ben Askren, the Funky Awards, if you will, for 2019. His male fighter Jorge Masvidal, female fighter Zhang Weili. His fight of the year, Israel Adesanya against Kelvin Gastelum, and his knockout of the year, Valentina Shevchenko's KO of Jessica Ai back at UFC 238. Still to come for me, my fight of the year, my male fighter of the year, my knockout of the year. There's a lot more to come on this program and some other surprise guests as well. Let's move along now and talk about the upset of the year. Another tough one. A lot of great choices, a lot of great nominees, a lot of great people to choose from, a lot of great fights, a lot of great upsets. Here are the ones we came up with.
2019 Upset of the Year. Timothy Nestukin defeats Eddie Alvarez. One championship, a new era. Former UFC champion Eddie Alvarez made his much anticipated debut in one championship as a 5-1 favorite in the first round of the lightweight Grand Prix. Timothy played spoiler as he stopped Alvarez in the first round via TKO. Not how the former champ planned to start his career in one championship.
Tristan Connelly defeats Michele Pereira. UFC Fight Night. Cowboy versus Gaethje. Stepping up on 5 days' notice to make his UFC debut, Connelly entered as a heavy underdog. Pereira missed weight, but that didn't prevent him from showcasing his thrilling fight style. Connelly sustained the initial onslaught and came away with a unanimous decision in front of his home crowd. Anthony Smith defeats Aleksandr Gustafsson. UFC Fight Night, Gustafsson versus Smith. Former title contenders came face-to-face in Gustafsson's home country of Sweden. Halfway through the fourth round, Smith, close to a 2.5-to-1 underdog, took Gustafsson's back, flattened him out, and locked in the rear naked choke. The night ended with Alex laying down the gloves in the middle of the octagon, announcing his retirement.
Those are your 2019 Upset of the Year nominees.
In case you're joining us late, thank you very much to the prolific Tony Collins for those VOs, voiceovers. A lot of fun to have her involved in the show. We appreciate everyone who has worked on this program. A lot to choose from as far as Upset of the Year is concerned. Here are some others that come to mind. How about the Charles Jourdain against Doo Ho Choi victory back in December, just a month ago in Busan, South Korea? How about the Chance Rencontre against Ismail Narduev victory at 239? Lena Landsberg against Macy Chiasson. Usman Woodley was one that a lot of people weren't picking. What about Cejudo Dillashaw, perhaps? What about Kama Worthy against Devontae Smith? Kai Asakura against Kyoji Horiguchi. That was a massive one in Japan. What about Anthony Pettis knocking out Wonderboy Thompson? Remember that? No one saw that coming. And, of course, at 170 as well. And how about Uriah Faber defeating Ricky Simone? That was a big one in his return fight back in July. But the winner? Yes, there it is. Upset of the year. The winner is Nastyukhin defeating Alvarez. Timofey Nastyukhin. People didn't know who this man was. Let's be honest. If you watch one championship, you may know who he is, but there was a lot of buzz, a lot of fanfare, a lot of hype surrounding the debut of the Underground King, Eddie Alvarez. Going into one, a lot of people thought he would go in there, win the tournament, get the belt, all be good. And he ran into an absolute buzzsaw. What a performance from Nastyukhin. Unfortunately, he got injured and was forced to pull out of the tournament. But this was a guy who was coming off a loss, relatively unknown, knocking him off. No one saw that coming. No one was predicting that, and really slowed Alvarez's debut. He got back on track later on, but to me, that was the shocker. That was the upset of the year. Nastyukhin trains in Thailand, Tiger Muay Thai, but he was kind enough to send us this acceptance video. Take a listen.
Всем привет. Спасибо за то, что включили меня в рейтинг. Я счастлив получить именно эту награду. Это один из лучших моментов в этом году, и я хочу сказать большое спасибо моей команде «Рать», залу «Тайгер Муай Тай», моему клубу «Новокузнецк», «Панкратион». Всем спасибо, что выбрали именно меня.
Of course, he said that in Russian, but I have the translation here, courtesy of One Championship. Hello, everyone. Thank you for including me in this award. I'm especially happy to receive this. It's one of the best moments in this year, and I want to say big thanks to my team, Rati, Tiger Muay Thai, to my club, Novokustin, Pankration. Thank you very much for choosing me. I'm told that Nastyukhin isn't a big smiler, if you will. You saw that right there, but congratulations to him on a phenomenal victory over Eddie Alvarez this past year in One Championship. All right, now let's move along to maybe the award that I had the most trouble with. And I know I'm saying this a lot, but I got to be honest. I had a lot of trouble with this one. This one was one of those awards that I was talking about at the top of the show, where even as of this morning, I was still going back and forth. It came down to 3, in my opinion. And if you really whittle it down, maybe even 2. It was so tough and really speaks to the great years that these 3 individuals had. We're talking about Coach of the Year, a hotly contested award, I know that a lot of you are going to debate this. I know a lot of you are going to have a big debate as far as, or a lot of reasons as to why I was wrong, why I was right, all that stuff and more. But this was a tough one. In the end, there can only be one. For now, though, let's take a look at the nominees.
2019 Coach of the Year.
Eric Albarracin. Captain Eric had a tremendous 2019 as he saw two of his fighters become double champions. Patricio Pitbull currently reigns over both Bellator's featherweight and lightweight divisions, while Henry Triple C held titles in both UFC's flyweight and bantamweight divisions. Albarracin could see one of his fighters, Paulo Costa, fight for a title in 2020.
Eugene Behrman, City Kickboxing. What a year for the headman at City Kickboxing. In October, Behrman cornered Israel Adesanya on his way to defeat Robert Whittaker for the undisputed middleweight championship. Then followed it up with Aleksandr Volkanovski becoming the new featherweight champion, an astounding 11-1 record in 2019 for Behrman, and 2020 could be even better. Sayif Saud, Fortis MMA. One of the hottest gyms on the MMA scene, Sayif and his crew went 19-5 in 2019. Headlined by UFC welterweight contender Jeff Neal, ending the year with a TKO victory over Mike Perry and former Tough champion Macy Chiasson. Those are your 2019 Coach of the Year nominees.
Oh my, such a tough one. Can I just give a little more? I mean, you talk about Eric Albarracin and what he did, 4-0 as far as fighters in the UFC in 2019. Cejudo double champ, Patricio Pitbull double champ, Paulo Costa doing his thing, Korean Zombie, who he linked up with, Jordan Johnson, making it to the finals. A tremendous year for him, and he has been campaigning. Henry Cejudo campaigning, texting me all morning long. Sayif Saud, a phenomenal year, 19-5 in the UFC. Jeff Neal doing amazing. Steven Peterson with the spinning back fist, doing great things with the likes of Uriah Hall, of course, as well. But what about the year that Eugene Behrman had? City Kickboxing 11-1 in the UFC, and most notably getting the title for the middleweight division with Israel Adesanya, and of course Aleksandr Volkanovski, who also spends time with a great coach named Joe Lopez in Australia as well. Huge year for that team, and beginning of 2018, they didn't have a single fighter in the UFC. Like I said, 11-1. Other notable fighters that compete for them, Brad Riddell and Kai Kara-France, Dan Hooker. In the end, I had to debate this. I was debating it all month long. I was debating it up until this morning. In the end, I go with Eugene Behrman of City Kickboxing. A phenomenal year for the man who has led that team now to 2 titles. We've got Israel Adesanya, the middleweight champion, Aleksandr Volkanovski, and like I said, not just those guys. You've got a list of other guys doing great things. They ended the year 11-1 in the UFC, and the lone loss was Kai Kara-France on the final pay-per-view of the year. They could have gone undefeated, and I got to tell you, my stomach was in knots over this one. This was a really tough one. It was an absolute tough one, and I know Eric is going to be mad at me, Captain Eric. Listen, if we would have talked about this in June, he had that one in the bag. He had it in the bag with Pitbull doing his thing, winning the second belt, with Henry Cejudo doing his thing, winning the 2 titles, beating TJ Dillashaw in January, and then doing his thing against Marlon Moraes and winning that 135-pound title in June in Chicago. But the back end of the year was all about City Kickboxing. Israel Adesanya beating Anderson Silva, the win over Kelvin Gastelum, and then knocking out Robert Whittaker at UFC 243 in Melbourne in front of all those fans. Highest attended event in UFC history. Aleksandr Volkanovski beating Jose Aldo, beating Max Holloway, doing what he did against it. I mean, just absolutely amazing. And developing, like Hooker ended last year. Remember, he ended 2018 with that loss to Edson Barbosa. Very one-sided. People were saying it should have been stopped earlier. Came back and look at the year that he had. Look at the Brad Riddell fight. Look at the Dan Hooker fight, as I just mentioned. Look at the Kai Kara-France. Look how far Kai Kara-France has gone. You know, if he would have won that fight back in December, would have been talked about as one of the top contenders. And there is a list of guys who are coming up from that gym in Auckland, New Zealand as well. He has put that team on the map. I've seen some other fighters now start to talk about wanting to go train with Eugene Behrman and the team over there in Auckland, in New Zealand. They have done an amazing job. And in the end, you can really flip a coin. I feel like the 2 finalists have to be Behrman or Albarracin, if only because they won titles. And at the end of the day, the titles help put you over the edge. If you're telling me right now that you're going with Captain Eric, it's hard for me to argue against him. It really is, because of what he did. But I felt like Cejudo only fighting twice and the Pitbull wins weren't quite as impactful as what Israel did, and then what Aleksandr Volkanovski did, and then what all the other fighters did as well. And so without further ado, let us say hello to Eugene Behrman, who I know is not one to like the limelight and to campaign for these sorts of things. In fact, he's probably annoyed that I've asked him to be on the show today to accept this award, but I appreciate him doing it nonetheless. Eugene, how are you? Congratulations on a phenomenal year for you and the team.
Thank you, Ariel. I'm not sure if I deserve such an award, which is why I'm immediately going to pass my award on to the real deserving people, which is the team. Because as you know, I don't coach everybody by myself. I have what I think is one of the best team of coaches in the world. So I might be receiving the award, but as far as I'm concerned, that award goes equally to all of the coaches and the fighters that I train. So respect to you. That's why I'm on the show. Ash, me and Ash really respect what you do, so thank you very much.
I appreciate it, and I appreciate you saying that about the team as well. I like asking this question when we do the award shows. Did you foresee this kind of year for you guys? I mean, it seemed like Israel was on a rocket ship, but to end the year the way you did, almost undefeated with the 2 titles. If we would have talked this time last year, did you think that you would be in this spot after what happened in 2019? Were you expecting this kind of year for the team?
I expected this to take a little longer than it happened, but as it happened, like the freight train started up and it couldn't be stopped. So we didn't try and halter it. We just kept going with it. So it definitely was unexpected to reach these heights this early, for sure.
Is there a particular moment from this past year? It maybe isn't one of the fights or one of the victories. Maybe it's a moment backstage with one of your fighters. When you think back on 2019, when you're going to be an old man with your grandchildren telling them about this incredible year, is there a moment that you think that will stick out for you?
For me, the big one is in the 5th round of the Gustafsson fight, when I had to lean into Israel's ear and tell him, like, this is everything we've worked for all the years we've known each other. Every bit of blood, sweat, and tears we put into it, it's going to come down to this last round. And it wasn't in that many words; it was in far less of words. But we both just had that understanding that this is it. Like this has to be all or nothing. That was probably a moment that stands out. If I can pick one.
And what a great round that was. In fact, that 5th round was my round of the year, and we'll see if it ends up being my fight of the year as well. It was just legendary stuff, of course, with Izzy saying that he's willing to die in there. Just very powerful and memorable stuff. As you look ahead to 2020, are you the kind of guy who has goals? Like, do you write these things down? Do you want to be in a certain spot by the end of this year as well? Do you think of things that way, or do you just take it day by day, month by month?
My goals are tied up with my fighters' goals, so they all have goals. Obviously, the big goal is to keep in our winning ways and retain our title. I think maybe a personal goal of mine is to do a little less media, to be honest. I got shoved into a lot of media, and I just think that, like, I've been a fighter. I had my time in the limelight. That was my time to shine, and now it's the fighter's time to shine. So, like, I'm old school. Like, I think coaches, the only time a coach should be seen is when they're cornering their fighter. So, I don't know, maybe that's just a little personal goal. Maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't. But, yeah, that's the only clear goal I've got next year, maybe.
Perhaps that's one of the negative byproducts of all the success, at least in your view. Can I ask you one last thing? A lot of people wondering when we're going to see Israel back. Will it be in March against Yoel Romero? Can you tell us anything about this?
We're working on getting a deal done in March to fight Yoel Romero. And we are training right now. We are in full training camp for that fight.
Okay, but it's not a done deal just yet.
It's not a done deal. There's some small particulars, as you know, that have to be worked out. But we're staying positive. We expect to be fighting another murderer. We expect to be walking down Murderer's Row again come March.
All right. Well, we look forward to that. Congratulations once again, Eugene. We'll keep this one short. It's all about the award. It's all about the year that you and your team and your fighters had. It's been amazing watching what your team has done over the past year, and we're thinking that bigger things are to come. That this isn't a flash in the pan. This isn't a one-off for you guys. So I'm really looking forward to what you guys do this year and beyond. Thank you for doing the show. I know you don't love doing this stuff, but we really appreciate your time.
Thank you. Definitely, Ariel. Respect to you and your team. Thank you very much.
All right, there he is, the one and only Eugene Behrman of City Kickboxing, our 2019 Helwani Knows Award winner for Coach of the Year. And again, congratulations to Saif Saud and Erica Barracine, and Mike Brown had a phenomenal year as well. All the great coaches. You got to pick a winner. I don't want to be like the 1995 NBA Rookie of the Year award. I don't want to split this thing. I thought about splitting it, to be honest, but in the end, you got to pick one, and that's who we're going with. All right. Let's go to Knockout of the Year now. One of the fun ones, of course. Everyone loves a great knockout. There were plenty of great ones. Here are our nominees.
2019 Knockout of the Year. Kevin Lee versus Gregor Gillespie. Head kick. UFC 244. Kicking off the main card was given a new meaning in this one. Lee strikes in the first round with a brutal high kick to the left of Gillespie's head. Gregor collapses to the canvas, and Lee puts his own stamp on the night. Valentina Shevchenko versus Jessica Ai. Head kick, UFC 238. In the event's co-main, Valentina the Bullet cemented her status with a head kick KO that sent shockwaves through the arena, retaining her flyweight title in spectacular fashion.
Jorge Masvidal versus Ben Askren. Flying knee. UFC 239. 5 seconds was all that was needed in this one. Masvidal secured the fastest knockout in UFC history as he ran across the octagon and connected on a flying knee. Masvidal handed Askren his first professional loss, and Jorge continued his rise.
Those are your 2019 Knockout of the Year nominees.
All right, so a few others that come to mind before I tell you my winner. Of course, the Anthony Pettis, Wonderboy Thompson knockout that we discussed earlier. How about the Jessica Andrade, Rose Namajunas knockout back in Brazil in May? What about the Movlid Khaybulaev knockout over Damon Jackson in PFL? Remember the flying knee? That was incredible. Davey Gallen against Ross Pearson. Jorge Masvidal against Darren Till. What about the Nico Price, James Vick knockout? Aaron Pico against Henry Corrales. Misha Serkinov against Johnny Walker. That was a phenomenal one. The Douglas Lima, Michael Venom Page knockout was incredible as well. What about the Jimmy Manoa, Aleksandr Rakic knockout? Amazing. Josh Emmett against Michael Johnson. Borix, Pico, Archuleta, Dantas, Homasi, Terrell, McKee, Karakhanian, Davis, Peterson. So many to choose from, but in the end, there had to be one. And of course, when you make history, again, you win the award. 5-second knockout in July. Jorge Masvidal, Gamebred, with the flying knee KO of Ben Askren, who had never been defeated prior to this fight. What a buildup. What a moment that really turned him into the superstar that he has become. Probably, I will say, one of the easier awards to pick this year. Jorge Masvidal with the incredible knockout of Ben Askren back in July. And we had Ben on earlier. He went with Valentina Shevchenko against Jessica Ai. That was a phenomenal knockout. And to be honest, any other year, that probably wins. But when you make history, when you do it like that, especially against a guy who had never been defeated before, you get the nod. It's Jorge Masvidal with the knockout, 5-second knockout at UFC 239. All right, speaking of Jorge Masvidal, he is one of our finalists for Male Fighter of the Year. And so it came down to Coach of the Year and Male Fighter of the Year. Those were the two toughest ones. Those were the ones that I was debating, I was agonizing over for weeks, up until this morning. Again, never happened before. Each and every time I do this, I'm pretty certain who's going to win come November, December. Not this time. Here are our nominees.
2019 Male Fighter of the Year. Israel Adesanya. UFC middleweight champion. 2019 saw the last stylebender defeat a legend in Anderson Silva, then claimed the interim middleweight title in one of the best fights of the year versus Kelvin Gastelum. Izzy put a stamp on the year when he unified the belts against Robert Whittaker in the highest attended event in UFC history.
Jorge Masvidal, UFC's baddest mother effer. What a year for the man they call Gamebred. A dominant 3-0 record in 2019, we saw Masvidal come out of his shell, most notably in his 5-second KO victory over Ben Askren, the fastest knockout in UFC history. He then stood toe-to-toe with Nate Diaz at MSG and claimed the prestigious BMF title.
Henry Cejudo, UFC flyweight and bantamweight champion. With a 2-0 record in 2019, Cejudo started the year in the UFC's first event, knocking out TJ Dillashaw, the then bantamweight champion. Henry followed that up by moving to bantamweight in June and defeating Marlon Moraes to become the newest champ. Kamaru Usman, UFC welterweight champion. The Nigerian Nightmare had a year to remember. In his first shot at a UFC title, he dominated Tyron Woodley from start to finish at UFC 235. He immediately set his sights on Colby Covington as his first opponent as champion and defeated Covington with an incredible performance at UFC 245. Those are your 2019 Male Fighter of the Year nominees.
Oh, my dear God. Oh, my gosh. Such a tough one. Another mention has to go to Patricio Pitbull. What a great year for him, getting that second title in Bellator. Oh, it was so tough. Pitbull, Usman, Cejudo, Adesanya, Masvidal. It came down, at least for me, to Israel Adesanya and Jorge Masvidal. Henry Cejudo, I know you're upset about this. I know you're trying to bait me and all this stuff. I don't know if you're writing those tweets, but the facts are, yeah, you made history, but you only fought twice. You only fought twice this year. And those two guys at the top fought 3 times. And in the end, I'm trying to break this down and I'm trying to figure it out. And in the end, I go with Jorge Masvidal. What an incredible year for this man. A year ago today, my friends, this man was coming off 2 losses and was coming off an inactive 2018. He knocks out Darren Till. He knocks out Ben Askren, and then he beats Nate Diaz in front of a sold-out crowd at Madison Square Garden. In case you forgot the kind of year that Jorge Masvidal had, here's a quick reminder.
To that arena with a lot of boos, you walked out with silence. What does it feel like to silence the O2 Arena?
Anybody heard my interviews prior to this? I said I live for that. And that's to take the breath out of everybody so you can hear pin drops. You can feel the electricity when you're coming in there.
I got exactly 2 seconds. So before it's, okay, watch right there. You've already missed it. Game Brad Masvidal came out with his hands behind his back, almost no rope, but
It's a rush that I wanted to immediately throw that knee or something of that gate, not at the first strike, but I did want to throw him to let him know you can't just duck and shoot and there's consequences. I'm coming to fight with everything I got, you know, so I'm going to give it my all, man, whatever it takes. I got whatever it takes, man, you know, if it's a buffet, it's whatever it is, man, I'm here for it, you know.
Unbelievable year for Jorge Masvidal, his first undefeated year since 2014 when he also went 3-0. Fastest knockout, like I said, over Ben Askren. One of 16 UFC fighters to go 3-0 or better in 2019, plus 86 significant strike differential. 4 knockdowns, was tied for the 3rd most among UFC fighters. At least 1 knockdown in each of his fights. 2-0, by the way, as a betting underdog. Moved from number 11 to number 3 in the UFC welterweight rankings. It came down to him and Israel Adesanya. I almost broke it down fight by fight. All right, the knockout of Darren Till, was that more impressive than the decision win over Anderson Silva? Okay, yeah, sure. The knockout of Ben Askren in record-breaking fashion, more impressive than the fight of the year contender over Kelvin Gastelum? Debatable, yeah, maybe. Okay, the knockout of Robert Whittaker was more decisive than the win over Nate Diaz, even though he was up 3-0. Sure, maybe you give it to Israel. In the end, again, like Coach of the Year, you sit here and you talk to me about why you think Israel deserves it. Yeah, I say, all right, these are all very valid reasons. But again, unlike the 1995 NBA Rookie of the Year award where they gave it to Grant Hill and Jason Kidd, which always pissed me off. You can't sit on the fence. There can't be co-winners. I really wanted to give co-winners. I was very close. If I'm being honest with all of you, I was very close to giving co-winners for this one and Coach of the Year. I was very close. Look, people say to me, oh, Ariel, you don't want to piss anyone off. Oh, you're such a brown nose for all this stuff. Look how hard these awards were. Who else is sitting up here in front of all of you making these tough decisions? I love Adesanya. I love the man. The man's incredible. I think he's one of the faces of the UFC now. I think he's an absolute superstar. I could have easily given it to him. But you got to give credit to the kind of year that Jorge Masvidal had. And maybe it's everything involved. Maybe it's, the kind of business that he generated as well, the impact that he had as well. We're talking about Conor being the impact fighter of the decade. I mean, who had an impact like Masvidal this year? And yeah, he had to have some breaks along the way. Askren, there were a few other fighters that fell through leading up to that fight, right? There were a few other fighters, and he got that fight, and he did what he did against him. You got to perform, but you got to get the breaks too. Hey, if Nate Diaz would have called out someone else, maybe that opportunity doesn't happen, and we're not talking about him as the fighter of the year. And I tweeted this. I found the tweet from, I think it was like January 16th of 2019, where he sent a tweet, or someone who is writing on his behalf, because I know he's told me that he doesn't do the tweets, but he does sort of recite them, if you will. Anyway, the tweet to Darren Till, where essentially, and it's a great line, hey, I know you want to fight in your backyard, England. I like to fight in backyards. Let me fight you in March. This is a guy on a 2-fight losing streak at the time, right? Coming off that loss to Wonderboy Thompson at Madison Square Garden, takes the year off, goes and films a reality show, is out of sight, out of mind. I mean, just think about this, guys. You sit here in this chair, January 6th, 2019. If I would have told you, when New York Rick and I make those predictions for who the fighter of the upcoming year is going to be, if I or him would have chose the male fighter of 2019 being Jorge Masvidal, you all would have said we were crazy. You often say we are crazy. You would have said we were completely out to lunch, out of our minds, right? Look at this year. Incredible. Absolutely amazing. And while I'm at it, why not? Why don't I just tell you this? Not only did he win the knockout of the year, not only did he win the male fighter of the year, he also wins my comeback fighter of the year and my most improved fighter of the year. Never before in the history of the Helwani Knows Awards have we done this. This man has won 4 awards: knockout, male fighter, comeback, and most improved. I dare you to argue against comeback and most improved. Dare you. Again, guy was out for the entire year, 2018, coming off 2 losses. Yeah, he was good prior to that. Yeah, he was the king of the unanimous decision loss, or split decision loss, I should say. Getting a big win and then a decision loss. You were stuck in neutral. You didn't put it all together. You didn't live up to your expectations. The expectations we set for you. You should be better. You should be higher ranked. You should be fighting for a belt. Why not? Putting it all together in 2019. Winning fights decisively, knocking people out, not sitting back, not being, a little blasé out there. No, Darren Till, boom, we're going after it. Ben Askren, boom, we're going after it. The Nate Diaz fight came out supremely aggressive in that fight. There's the resume there. The man wins 4 awards. And I have to look back. We've been doing this since 2013 was the first year that we did this. We've been doing it, of course, for this is our 7th year, the 7th annual Helwani Knows Awards. I really don't know if anyone has ever won 4. There's definitely been a couple of double winners, if you will, but I don't know if anyone has ever won 4. And so it's an incredible thing when you talk about a guy who now has all the options, right? And Ben Askren hit it on the head. Absolutely hit it on the head. The reason why you're not hearing a lot of Jorge Masvidal these days is quite simply because he's waiting until the fight on January 18th. He holds all the cards. I remember a long time ago when Conor McGregor beat Jose Aldo in Las Vegas, UFC 194. He said to me, the fight game is all about options. And now I have options. And he did have options, right? He went up, he fought RDA, was booked to fight RDA, then had the Nate Diaz fights. It's all about options. This man now has all the options, and he's probably going to wait until January 18th to find out who is next for him because he has all the options, and it could be Conor McGregor. But you know what? You can sit here and listen to me talk about his options, or we could talk to him about his options and the year that he did. So the year that he just had. So without further ado, let us say hello to the one and only Game Bread. Let's say hello to Jorge Masvidal. Jorge, how are you, my man?
What's up, man?
Congratulations. What a year for you. I don't know if you heard because you're just joining us, Jorge, but you have won 4 Helwani Knows Awards. You won the Comeback Fighter of the Year, the Most Improved Fighter of the Year, you won the Knockout of the Year, and you won the Male Fighter of the Year. This has to be one of the greatest days of your life. What do you think?
Wait up. I'm switching. I'm being told to switch positions.
Okay.
Yeah, we're upgrading to like a bigger screen or something.
Okay.
Yeah, we send you like a thing on the computer. One of those things that allows us to talk on a bigger platform screen thing.
Well, congratulations. What do you think? You know, a lot of people are going to debate this one. They're going to say that Israel should have won Male Fighter of the Year. What do you think? If you could be as unbiased as possible, do you think that you deserve it? Did I get this one right?
Oh, I think you're 100% right, my brother. There's no question in my mind. I think you called it right. I think, you know, Adesanya got the belt, which is the hardest thing you could do, or it's supposed to be in the division. One of the biggest accolades you could have. But I beat some really impressive guys this year, man. Till's no joke, man, you know. And Kelvin Gastelum is no joke either. But I just I feel I had a better opposition until the champion. He got to face the champion Whitaker, but I faced some stiff competition as well. But man, I'm here to stay, man. 2019 was awesome. 2020 is gonna be better. I just got back to the gym, so I'm a little out of it, but I'm just kind of overwhelmed too. I haven't got no awards ever, and then I get all these awards in 1 year, so it's a little overwhelming, you know?
No, I understand that. It's been quite the journey for you, 16 years in the game, and then you have this year. Honestly, I love talking about this. I love asking people. I've been asking the winners all show long. Honestly, if we would have talked January 6th, 2019, right? This time last year, you couldn't have predicted this. Like, I know you had big plans and you went on the reality show and you were feeling different, the resurrection, but could you have predicted this, Madison Square Garden, all this stuff? This has to have exceeded all your wildest dreams, right?
No.
No?
No, my brother. I had, and I'm not trying to even be weird or nothing, but I had expectations, goals, many things that I had to do this year to do right. One of them was separate myself from the pack with the formula that I had in my mind, and that formula paid off. And 2019 was a good year, but that fucking year is over, my brother. 2020 is gonna be better, man. 2019 was just a preview to what the fuck I'm gonna do to people. If you want to see violence, tune the fucking. I just left the gym right now, sharpening these fucking tools for future opponents that might have has. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm fucking ready for everybody. I don't want nobody thinking because I got all these awards, this motherfucker's gonna get soft. I'm coming for everybody's fucking head in my division. I'm gonna get that fucking belt because there's a rumor going around that there's another belt, and that's all I care is that I'm in there fucking competing against the best in the world, man. I'm excited I got these awards, and it lets me know that the things that I'm doing, the sacrifices I've taken on, especially this last year, are paying off. I'm in the right direction of where I should be, and I'm going to stay in that path even more focused. So 2020 is going to be a violent year if you're in my division. You're about to get baptized, you know what I'm saying? If you're in the top 5, you're asking for it, you know? So let's get to it, man. Let's fucking get to it, man.
All right, so let's stay on that subject. Who will be your first opponent of 2020, Jorge? Can you tell us this?
Because this is between me and you, right? Nobody else is listening.
Yeah.
And you know you're my boy. This is what it is, man, Ariel. I go to the gym and I just bust my ass on whoever it might be. A future opponent of this guy, start making up strategies in my head, and I start just getting to work. And at ATT, we got such a talent pool that it's crazy the amount of work I could always get done. Right around as I'm doing that, this guy, you might know him, Abraham Kawa, will be doing the fighting for me on the other side. He will be going to war like a fucking dog, because that's what I pay him the fucking big bucks for. And I pay him big bucks. He knows it. I pay his ass big bucks. So while he's over there fist fighting on the phone for me, I'm just kicking ass in the gym. So who's next or when's next or what's next, I don't know. But as soon as I get the word, their heads are off. If it's up to my doing, everybody getting it. Especially that owl dude, bro. I'm going owl hunting, man. I want some owl soup. I'm telling this dude, man, he's a little disrespectful with that who shit, bro. You fucking know who, man. And if you don't, when we get in that fucking ring, you'll find out who I am, my brother. I will gladly love to introduce myself to you in the ring, in the prize fighting ring.
Wait, who are we talking about here? Who's the owl?
Exactly. Who? It's a for real nobody. But this motherfucker here, I want to go to war. where every motherfucker, they got something to do in my weight class. There's some type of noise or something. And they're saying that who guy has some weight behind him. Let's find out, man. It took me, 16 years to get this fuck? I had to go and get famous before I got a world fucking title, Ariel. That's how fucking good I am, man. They were scared of me. The fucking UFC was scared. I'm about to prove some shit on 2020. And hopefully it's going to be on the Owl's head.
Okay.
You know who I'm talking about.
Well, let me ask you this. My prediction is you are waiting to see what happens between Conor and Donald Cerrone, and if Conor wins, that's the fight to make. What do you think?
You're smart, man. You got that little earpiece, huh?
Yeah.
Fucking the CIA's talking to you, man.
Is that the one you want? If Conor wins, is that the one you want?
Man, yes, I would want that fight because it's a big money fight. It's a dude that's a 2-time division champion. He has some impressive records, and he comes to fight, man. So in that aspect, yes, and we're gonna fucking both sell out wherever we're fucking find that, and it's gonna be violence. But if the dude doesn't want to fight, I'm not a bully, man. Go do your thing, you know. He doesn't want this. I don't give a fuck. Then you don't want to fight. You don't want to fight, but don't flirt with me and shit. You want it or you don't. Leave me the fuck alone if you don't. I'm gonna go take care of Usman. And he was talking about he wanted the title fight with Usman. No. At 70. I'm the way. I am the thing. I decide when Usman will fight, who he'll fight, all that. Everybody knows that. He might have the fucking belt, but I'm the one calling the fucking shots. I can't tell him all that.
Come on, what is this? What was that? Secrets?
Those are just the voices in my head. Anyways, okay. Listen.
Yes.
It's going to be a hostile takeover, man. It's going to be more. We're going to have the same conversation next year. Right around the same time. You're going to see, mark my fucking words, Ariel. And I would only say this because it's me and you talking, so nobody else is fucking
no listen.
I'm just telling you as my boy, you know, and I know you keep this confidential, you know.
I appreciate it.
But between me and you, we're going to have the same conversation in 2021. People are going to think he's fucking crazy, he's lost it, or whatever the fuck. Keep thinking that way.
All right.
Watch.
We will remember this. Now, let me ask you this.
I'm on a motherfucking mission.
Conor wins on January 18th. They say to you, Jorge, we'll give you the choice. You have the options. Usman title fight or the Conor fight? Which one you choose? Which one you want more between those two?
Even I know my management, without a doubt, would say, and I would also say because I have kids and stuff, the Conor fight, we'll go get the money because the Conor fight's not always going to be there. The who is always going to be there, man. You know what I'm saying? So the Owl, whatever they're calling him these days now, that fight's always going to be there. Somebody's always going to have that belt. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So it's not a big deal as far as those two goes. The one that would make the most money. But I also have something to get, and that's to show everybody in my division, all my peers, not the fans, because the fans wouldn't know anyways, a lot of them, you know, to my actual peers, to the fighters in my weight class, that I am the best through and through, and I'm going to show it. And it's going to take some time, but I'm going to show it year after year. I'm just going to fucking show it, man.
Okay, and what about this notion, Jorge? Of course, we talked about this earlier in the show. Nate Diaz called you out. He could have called anyone out in that moment, and we have to acknowledge the fact that that was a big deal for him to say that he wanted to defend the title against you. What about the idea that the fight ended somewhat, you know, indecisively, right? Doctor stoppage. No one wants a BMF title to end that way. What about an immediate rematch against Nate Diaz? Is that on your radar?
That is on my radar, but meaning like we would do it. We would do it when we do it. It's not like I know he's getting reconstructive face surgery, right? Or was that a rumor? Because it's so much stuff online, you don't know. So if he's getting reconstructive surgery, I'm no fucking plastic surgeon, but I'm guessing it's going to take him some while till he fights. So while he's going through that recovery phase, I'll go and make some money because that's what the fuck I'm here for. He comes back, I'm ready to go again. We're going to fight? Do it again, man. What the fuck, man? What the fuck? You think I don't want to get paid? Come on, man. If you're talking about the 4th and 5th round. Okay, man. I took a fight with this dude named Ben Henderson that fought Nate Diaz. Here's some MMA math for you. I took it. The fight, I was going to fight Dumham Kim. It was a 3-round fight. And then it got switched to a 5-round fight with Ben Henderson, like in maybe 12-day notice, something like that. So I really couldn't. What I had going with me is what I had going with me. I wasn't going to gain more gas in those 12 days. And I went with Ben Henderson the whole 5 rounds. Balls to the wall, trying to knock his head out, wrestling at a hard fucking pace. Nowhere was I near gassing. Motherfuckers is making excuses, saying this and that, and him saying that I even thought about quitting. That fucking bothered me. You know what I'm saying? Because I ain't never quit in my life. Now all of a sudden I was gonna quit. You don't got to do it to sell a rematch. You really don't. You could just say, yo, let's do it. Let's run it back. Fuck yeah, let's do it, man. I didn't like that stoppage either. I wanted to fucking leave you unconscious, so I'm with it, bro. Let's do it. You know. I'm not waiting for nobody, though, because I fucking bust my ass all day long at the gym. So when my management goes, yo, it's time to execute, gear up, boom, I'm gone. I'm kicking somebody's ass. Whoever that somebody is.
And I know I'm peppering you with options here, but like I said, this is part of the.
I like your suit, man.
You
I like the fucking suit, man. You should have told me. I'm always fucking underdressed for all these events.
Yeah, that's right.
Abe didn't tell me shit that I was gonna win all these events. I'm always fucking.
He didn't tell you?
Always nice everywhere I go. I just came straight out of the gym, man. I'm always fucking underdressed, bro.
It's all good.
For letting me know, man.
No problem. Listen, I don't have your number anymore. We used to text. You're too big of a big shot now to give me your number, but I know that's how you do.
Nobody has money.
I know. That's part of your charm. Now, let me ask you about this. I haven't talked to you in a while, Jorge, because it's hard to get you on the phone these days. What about Nate's brother, Nick, calling you out? Is this in the cards as well? Has the UFC reached out to you guys about this potential fight?
What I love as a fighter, me, we came up through the same circuits and Strike Force and other shows, and I of course I knew who Nick was and stuff like that. We were on the same circuit. He fought guys that are the teammates of mine and vice versa. I always wanted to fight Nick, but here's the thing: is Nick cleared from USADA? Is he good on UFC terms? Like all these things got to spin in motion. When they tell me all these things are right and he's ready to go, I'm ready to go. I'm here. I'm here to fight. Like I said, when they have the opponent in front of me that's ready to compete, leave all the bullshit aside and stuff. The Twitter feedbacks and who's eating what these days. Let's fast forward through all this. Just get the fucking fight.
Right.
Who wants to do that? Who wants to do that? I'll bring that up.
Jorge, are you attending UFC 246 in Las Vegas? Cerrone against McGregor. Will you be in attendance to get a good look at what Conor does that night?
I think I'm there.
Oh, you're going. Whoa.
I think I'm there. I'm hearing things of. There's a 93% chance that I'm there.
Wow. Is it because you want to get a good look at Conor?
Yeah. Combo of things, why not? If he's a future opponent, why not study him on the live format, see little things that maybe on the camera are not as enhanced, so there's different things I could definitely pick up in the real world.
You think he wins that fight?
Yeah. Say it again?
You think he wins that one?
Shit. You asking me who to place a bet on? You want me to be like political here? What do you want me to do?
I just want your gut answer.
Well, it could go two ways. I see. Well, it could go many of ways actually. But Conor's great off the block. He's fucking phenomenal off the start. Cowboy's a slow starter. Conor has tremendous speed and timing in the beginning, good power. So I think he can catch him early. If Cowboy comes out the grapple like he has in the past with decent strikers and even with good grapplers like Rick Story, who's able to take him down and create a lot of offense like that. If that Cowboy comes out, he can mix things up real nice, man. And then he can start the flow and get into his game of high kicks and punching and being tricky and presenting like a dual threat to Conor, If he just comes out to like fight it out, I see Conor winning within the first 2 rounds, I think.
Okay. That's great analysis. I'd love to see you maybe on the desk with me one of these days. Jorge, can I tell you, by the way?
On what network? Because I ain't putting on no fucking monkey suit.
No, it's okay.
I'm not getting told what the fuck to say and what the fuck not to say. Somebody in my earpiece. That's why I don't do those things. And when you see me doing them, it's because they said you can do whatever the fuck you want, say whatever you want.
Yeah, you did a great job.
I don't want nobody telling me what to do, man.
Combate, I saw you.
I want nobody telling me what to do. You already know that about me, Ariel.
Yeah, I know that. I know.
I'm not gonna be controlled by this fucking thing called society, bro.
No.
Fucking
respect. One of my favorite moments of the year, outside of all the great moments that you gave us when you were
I
eating,
answered your call.
Well, that was great as well. No, when you were eating the pancakes, remember that time after the Askren fight,
Yeah,
and the syrup up and down. I mean, it was very nice. It was a very nice moment.
It was genuine, man.
It was
I was
genuine.
happy to be talking to you, sharing my breakfast, man. And that was my first meal of that day. So it was very. I usually look. I'll tell you something.
Yeah.
I don't eat with people I don't like, or even just like remotely not get along with, because that has to be a very good moment. If somebody wants to get in a fist fight, they just gotta fuck with me while I'm eating, and it's on. It's war. Because I'll end you so I could eat in peace, or I will walk away from people.
Sure.
So what I'm trying to tell you is, in that reality show, people knew like that's why I would eat a lot by myself. That was a special moment for me too, for me to share my meal with you like that. I just don't do it with anybody, Ariel. Is what I'm trying to tell you. Because if I think I even might not have a good time with so-and-so, I won't eat with that person.
No, I got you.
It's gonna fuck up my meal, and then can't fuck up the tempo. You know what I'm saying?
Unfortunately, Corporate Jake is telling me to wrap. We're out of time, Jorge. You won't believe it. But by the way, any sign of Colby at the gym? Have you seen him since the fight? Have you any sign of him?
Who? No, but for real, the dude that got his jaw broken. No, man. Wait, listen. I was and D's gonna get upset that I'm fucking by D. I mean DP. D's gonna get upset that I'm even saying this because this was like locker room talk. He's like, "Yo, man, where's fucking Kobe?" I go, "Bro, don't even worry about it because he's on witness protection program. When you see this dude, you can't even touch him if you want. I'm telling you, I'm gonna fuck his ass up, man. I'm tired of this shit." And I go, "D, listen, he's got like I don't know if Trump has hired him or something, but he has like Secret Service with him, you know. So it's nuts. You can't even look at the guy's direction. He's got too many people on his side. So DP was thinking that he could get to at least talk to man to man. But nah, that dude don't go to the gym, man. You know what I'm saying? He's a punk, and he got what he deserved."
All right, we'll leave it at that. Congratulations on a phenomenal year.
I would have gave you more, but Corporate Jake is,
that's it. Typical.
The Lion guy's taking up too much time on the airways. We got to cut him off.
Yep. Thank you for doing this, Jorge.
Who's after me? Who's after me?
What do you mean? I can't give away the awards. We're doing a show here. What are you talking about? You got 4. Isn't that enough? Congratulations.
I almost got you.
I know. Always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you for doing this, and I look forward to a big year.
I love the suit. It's going to be a violent year, my brother. We're going to have the same conversation, me and you, again, on the one-on-one next year, 2021, and you'll be like, damn, fuck, you knew it.
You called it. Thank you, Jorge. Much love. Congrats. There he is. Our male fighter of the year, our comeback fighter of the year, our most improved fighter of the year, and our knockout of the year winner. Unbelievable year for the man they call Gamebred, Jorge Masvidal. And what a big year he may have in store for 2020. I don't know why I'm doing this. I'm excited. It's been a great day, and we got more. We got a lot more for you, my friends. Let's talk about fight of the year. What are we doing if we're not talking about the fights of the year, the best fights of the year? Yes, the best fight. This is my Vince McMahon, your fired voice. Fight of the year. Take a look at the nominees.
2019 Fight of the Year. Dustin Poirier versus Max Holloway, UFC Lightweight Championship, UFC 236. A striker's delight is best to describe this brawl. Poirier and Holloway combined for a total 359 significant strikes, all while on the feet for what stands as the second largest tally in UFC history. Holloway landed 181 significant strikes, tied most in UFC history for a losing fighter. This was awarded Fight of the Night honors, and Poirier walked away with the gold. Israel Adesanya versus Kelvin Gastelum, interim UFC Middleweight Championship, UFC 236. A back-and-forth fight that was the perfect culmination for Israel Adesanya's rise. He outlanded Kelvin Gastelum 109-91 in significant strikes, with 37 of those coming in the 5th round. In that 5th, Adesanya scored 3 knockdowns, only the second fighter in UFC history with multiple knockdowns in round 5. Both men $50,000 richer, and Izzy with a new piece of hardware. Yoel Romero versus Paulo Costa, middleweight bout, UFC 241. 2 of UFC's most intimidating men did not disappoint. Costa and Romero combined for 243 significant strikes, the 3rd largest combined tally in UFC middleweight history. All but 3 strikes were landed on the feet. Although Costa's hand was raised at the end, both men received an extra $50,000 for putting on an instant classic. Those are your 2019 Fight of the Year nominees.
Unbelievable year for fights. Some other ones that come to mind: Luque Barberena, Zhang Li, Riddell Malarkey, Perry Luque, Garbrandt Munoz, Neil Price, Cejudo Moraes, Cormier Miocic, Awad Gertz, Larkin, Koreshkov, Covington, Usman. But in the end, there has to be one. Again, there were some tough ones. There were some easy ones. This one, in my opinion, it was a relatively easy one. It goes to Israel Adesanya against Kelvin Gastelum. What a phenomenal fight. One of the best fights that I've ever seen live. And in particular, that moment going into the 5th where Izzy says to his corner, unbelievable, where he says, "I'm ready to die." And I told you about that round. That won our round of the year. We told you about that earlier in the show. Unbelievable what he did. in that 5th round, in the final moments of that fight, the championship moments of that fight, sealing the deal. Congratulations to both Israel Adesanya and Kelvin Gastelum. You can listen to me talk about that amazing fight, or we can talk to Israel Adesanya himself. And here he is, joining us via the magic of Skype, the one and only, the last style bender, Israel Adesanya. Now, Izzy, thank you so much for doing this. Congratulations. I am the kind of guy to put myself in very awkward positions. As you may have heard moments ago, I gave Jorge Masvidal my Male Fighter of the Year award. I have to say, I was dying over this one. I was agonizing over it. I really wanted to do co-winners. I truly was going to just say co-winners, but I felt like that was sitting on the fence. And in the end, I gave it to him. And I just want to know what you think of this.
Male Fighter of the Year. I mean, I know the work I've done, so it's all right. He can have that, you know. Yeah, he did well last year. You know, he flying knee homeboy. What's his name again?
Askren.
Fuck. What was it? Ben Askren. Shit. Ben Askren. He kneed Ben Askren in the face. He beat Nate Diaz for the BMF belt. And yeah, the resurrection's been cool to watch. I'm a big fan, but you know, yeah, he can have it. You know, I'll stick to winning UFC titles.
Did I screw up? You could tell me. I'll take it. I feel like
no, that's all right.
I feel guilty.
Right. I mean,
my Jewish guilt is really kicking in right now. I feel horrible, but I just feel like in the end I had to pick one, and I that's why I wanted you. Listen, I didn't give you the Male Fighter, but I'm giving you the last say.
The last, like I said, I'll just stick to keep winning world belts, keep winning my titles, keep defending, and yeah, I'll stick to the same script that got me here anyway. So he can have that. That's cool. I don't mind. Congrats to him.
But in the end, a phenomenal year for you. Not only did you win our round of the year, you win the fight of the year. And of course, I'm also here to say you won the walkout of the year, which I'm sure you're not all that surprised about. So you win those 3 awards. Let's talk about the fight for a second. Eugene just told me that was his favorite moment of the year, of all the great moments. And by the way, Eugene Behrman won our coach of the year as well, which was another highly debated one. So that was huge.
That one would have had problems. If you didn't give him coach of the year, I would have found you and would have had problems.
So there you go.
Yeah,
I spread the love. And he told me that the moment going into the 5th, where he was telling you about everything that you guys have done to get to this point, and you were telling him about what you were willing to do in that 5th round, was his favorite moment of the year, regardless of the fight. Do you remember that moment, and what could you tell us about those memories? I know we've talked about it in the moment itself, but now here we are 8 or so months removed. When you think back to that moment, what comes to mind?
Well, just chills. If I think about it, looking at the slides right now. That they keep saying interim. That was my UFC title win. Let me make it clear on record. That was my UFC title win against Kelvin Gastelum. And also congrats to him as well, because it takes 2 to tango. I couldn't have done that by myself. So congrats to him as well for being a good dance partner to create such an epic moment in history. Like, that fight was a movie, you know, just the back and forth and the line I said to him, you know, across the cage before that 5th round. And what ensued afterwards. But yeah, that was my UFC undisputed world title win. And my fight in Melbourne, that was my first title defense. I finally got my plaque back from the UFC, and they have 2 rubies on there. So I've got my title win and my title defense. Because if I didn't have 2 rubies, we would have had problems. I would have went on Keanu Reeves. I would have went on John Wick on some people.
Have you ever been pushed to the limits like that in your career? Not just MMA, kickboxing. You've never felt that before, right? What you felt in that 5th round?
Not like that. No, not like that. Like, I've gotten hints in training I've been in training, like, for the Silver fight. There was a point when I was doing my VO2 max that usually was like, pick him up, get him to the bike. And I was trying to get up, and then Carlos and BJ and John all come grab me and put me on the bike. And I start pedaling, and And I think, I still have that video on. I thought, like, oh man, I've hit the wall. I have to push past it. But then you never know where the limit is, because there is no fucking limit. There's no limit. You just have to keep going to the next plateau. And in that fight, I've never been there in my life. But I was like, this is it. I have to get to the limit. If not, I'll die. So if I have to die here, this is it. And yeah.
You know, the amazing thing about you is I've been asking this question all show long. I've been asking people this time last year, did you expect to be in the position that you are now? To the award winners, to people like Masvidal and whatnot. With you, I feel like I don't even have to ask that question because I feel like you did expect all of this. You called all of this. You foresaw all this. You were the one saying, I remember you were on this show last year. I don't know if you remember when you won the Breakout Fighter of the Year. And you're like, yeah, Breakout's cool. I'm going to win, a male fight. I'm going to be champion by the end of the year. I'm going to beat Anderson Silva, was prior to that fight. So you envisioned all of this. So then let me ask you, what are you envisioning for 2020? Do you already have the map laid out? Do you already have the game plan?
I have my first guy on the chopping block. That's Yoel. So he's the first one, and I want to defend my belt 3 times this year, at least 3 times this year. I'm going to defend my belt.
What's going on with that fight? Why have we not announced it yet? Why is it not out there?
What's going on? There's the other battles that happen behind the scenes. But the fight's done. I literally just got to the gym now. I'm about to get some work in. So, yeah, make no mistake. I'm still putting work in. I'm still getting ready for my second title defense against a veteran in the game, a veteran in the wrestling, tough motherfucker, the boogeyman of the division, the guy no one calls out except Starbender. But, yeah, I'm working. Trust me, I'm working hard.
And that would be tentatively for March 7th, right? On that fight with Joanna and Zhang Weili?
Yep, that's the one, and that's me.
Now let's talk just amongst friends here. Izzy, are they taking care of you? Like, what's going on here?
Just the 2 of us.
Are they taking care of
the
you?
2 of us.
What's happening here? Are they not paying up? What's going on? Do you need me to make a phone call? What's happening?
I'll have you call your people. Your people can call their people. Don't worry, we're working well. Like, it's just been the Christmas break. Some people are on a holiday. Some of my people are on holiday, so we've kind of left things just to simmer. And yeah, the fight will happen, and it'll happen on our terms as well. So I'm happy. I have no doubt that I'm going to get what I want out of this fight.
Good man. Do you feel like 205 is at all a possibility this year, or that's still 2020? That's still part of the plan for 2021, I should say.
It's not out of the question. It's not out of the question. I don't have to. Everyone thinks that, how's he going to get to 205? He's going to have to jack up and put muscle on. I fought at heavyweight when I was weighing at like 87 kgs, 88 kgs. These guys were weighing 100 plus. It's in kickboxing. I fought Brian Minto, a boxing world champion, former world champion. I fought him at heavyweight when I was weighing like 92 kgs. So this is nothing new to me. For me, this is just another day in the office. It's another code I have to do with that. I did it in boxing. I did it in kickboxing. I have to do it in MMA now. And look, if Dom takes out John, that makes no difference. What I said is going to happen is still going to happen in 2021. 205, I might do. Edison did that against. He did that against James Irvin.
Yes.
Yeah, he did that. Just a little tease. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what the landscape of the year shows us. So yeah, it's not out of the question. But I'm focused on my division.
Will 2020 be a disappointment for you if you don't get your hands on Paulo Costa? Does that fight need to happen?
Yes, I want that fight to happen, but I wouldn't say it's a disappointment, but I want that fight to happen. I need that fight to happen. I want that fight to happen because I want it. I don't need anyone. Yeah, it's just, he did what he did. He hurt himself, allegedly. And yeah, now he can't fight for, I don't know, maybe 7 more months. I'm not sitting around waiting for this wannabe to get better and then come see me. So yeah, I picked on the next guy no one wants to call out. And that's Yoel Romero. And we've got a lot of killers in this division. Like I said, the dark horse of the division is Jared. So, yeah, I just have to do one fight at a time.
Yep.
This is how you get there. You take it one moment at a time, one fight at a time. Like, it's cool to look future, and as I do, I get my dad so raven, I look in the future and I see what's ahead in the horizon. But I always stay focused. I always stay focused in the moment. But, yeah, it'll be nice.
By the
Must
way,
be nice.
Did you see that press conference prior to UFC 245 where John was asked about you? Did you hear his comments about you?
I heard, Israel's a pussy. How the fuck am I a pussy? Did you not know I won the Ariel Helwani, the Nose Fighter of the Year? Pussies don't win that. Where? Hell no. If I'm a pussy, he can say whatever he wants to say. I mean, I can say the same thing. He's a bitch. He's a Paulson Picto pussy. How about that? You Paulson Picto pussy. You bitch, you fizz bitch, you pussy juice cocktail, you alligator fuckhouse. Exactly. I can say whatever I want. It's all words. Eventually, when we see each other, we'll see each other. I still have never seen me and him in the same room together. I I wonder why. But eventually we'll see each other at some point, and he's going to have to see me like everyone else does.
But you've never actually been in the same vicinity as him.
I saw him walking out when he fought the hammer chest. That was it.
Thiago Santos.
Thiago Santos. Fuck, I just woke up, Ariel. My brain ain't firing yet.
No, it's all good, man.
I haven't really had my coffee. Yeah. But yeah, I haven't seen him ever. I don't know. When I see him, I'll see him, and he'll see me. He'll feel me. He'll take me in as a man that I am. All 6'4", skinny. He'll see me, and he'll realize, oh shit, this guy ain't as small as people think. Because even his people have seen me. Brandon's seen me. His coach Greg seen me. They all see me. I'm not. What did he say? He was saying, wasn't he the one saying Robert Whittaker? I can't wait for Robert Whittaker to stomp a mud hole in his ass. And now he's saying to Romero, once you get him down, he'll never get back up. He's always rooting for the other guy to beat me. Why don't you want to beat me yourself? Why don't you want to try and see me yourself? Look, if Dom beats him, like I said, it doesn't make no difference. I'm coming for him. I'm coming on him. And then you wait. 2021, you'll see.
Let's end on this one because you did win the walkout of the year. There were a lot of great choices, especially in Ryzen and overseas. Bellator had some great ones, but no one made headlines with his walkout quite like you. I mean, it was so fresh. It was so much fun. People were talking about it afterwards. It really did make an impact. Let me ask you, when you go to Vegas on March 7th, if they get that one done, if they pay you what you're worth, what you are deserving of, will we see something like this? Should we expect something like this?
Expect the unexpected when it comes to me. Expect the unexpected. So I know this walkout was magical, was special, was beautiful because people didn't expect it. The place went dark. Before you know it, there's all these ninjas in the front of the tunnel, and they're like, "What are they doing? How are they? Oh shit! What?" And I come through and I fucking kill the show. You know. That's another thing, motherfucker said. John Jones, motherfucker Jones. He's like, well. I mean, when I'm done, I'm glad people can remember my accolades rather than my walkout. It's like, shut the fuck up. People are going to remember you because you're a drug cheat. You're a steroid cheat. That's what they're going to remember. All the shit you've done after Shogun, no one really cares anymore because they know you cheated. You popped on the same month as your brother in 2016. You know, that's all they're going to remember. So my walkouts are going to be even greater than his whole career. And like I said, I'm only just getting started. I'm fucking nearly 2 years in the UFC. As I said, I'm just only coming up 2 years in this fucking company. Imagine what I'm going to do in the next 5, in the next 6, 7 years. I'm only 2 years in. He's already a boomer. He's old. He's washed. So, yeah, walkouts to knockout. You're welcome.
Izzy, congratulations, my man. What a year for you. I'm getting flashbacks of us talking about this last year, and I can't wait to see what you do in 2020. You're always gracious, especially early in the morning over there. Well done, my friend. As you walk off here, well done. That was great stuff. I appreciate it.
Light work. L'chaim, my friend. As always, l'chaim.
L'chaim to you, too.
About to get some work in now for everybody else.
There they are.
Yeah.
Much love, Izzy.
Easy as.
We'll talk to you soon. There he is. The last style bender himself, winner of the walkout of the year, of the fight of the year, and of course of the round of the year. Those two against Kelvin Gastelum back in April in Atlanta. You know who's a big Israel Adesanya fan? My man, Askren Bronson. He actually hung out with him in New Zealand. How lucky is he? Askren Bronson was one of the great developments for me personally in 2019. What a great guy and what a big fan. Maybe we'll even hear from him very soon again. And he was one of many celebrity guests that we had on the program. And so here we are, much like Chael likes to do. We're going to name drop a little bit. Here's a little trip down memory lane of all the big celebs that joined us last year on the program. We've been having a lot of celebrity guests. I've been enjoying this very much. You were one of those iconic figures when I was growing up. I loved Mankind. I love that man, Mick Foley. And look at us, Mick. We're wearing the same shirt here. Isn't that amazing? Travis Barker, Blink-182 fame. The world is a better place because Dwayne Johnson is in it. Bam Bam Baklava himself. Gina, where have you been? Yes, I said Freddie Prinze Jr. The great Joey Coco Diaz. But did you know that you were like the only fighter in the history of MMA to never appear on the show in the 11 years?
I want to be really honest. I don't really watch your show. Not.
Why do they call you Mad Flavor?
Because I'm Mad Flavor. That's the name Biggie Smalls gave me.
Did he really give you that?
No, but I gotta say something time to time that's not true.
It's an homage to Bam Bam Bigelow because I'm athletic enough to do 100 cartwheels in a row.
In his prime, who would have won in a no-holds-barred fight? Mike Tyson or Bruce Lee?
If Bruce Lee really could beat me in a fight, I really think this is an interesting world.
I just got a bottom flipper for my teeth. These were knocked out in that match with The Undertaker. It took away from my role as Santa every December to have nasty blue and gray teeth. I made the conscious decision to not wear it for this interview because of who you are.
Is that a compliment?
Yeah, I think it is.
One of my dad's best friends was Muhammad Ali. Ali and my dad are sparring at Ali's house. They're messing around in the living room, and my dad catches him with a left hook and gets a bloody nose. My dad hauls ass to the bathroom, grabs the towel, comes in, wipes the blood off Ali's face, runs out of his house, hauls ass back to Woodrow Wilson Drive, top of the valley in the hills right there, and framed the towel. Ali would call the house and scare my poor mother and be like, you tell that boy I'm gonna kill him. Tell him I'm gonna kill him, he's a dead man. We still have the towel. I ask my mom for it all the time. She says, you can have it when I'm dead.
The experience, what was it like?
This idea about the BMF title and what it meant, I always felt like it was something that transcended sports. When I was walking backstage in the garden, walking out to the octagon, I was so precisely in the moment.
You're a very big MMA fan, and you've been watching MMA since like back in the day.
I got captured by the Ultimate Fighter. I had a little TV. The only channel we had was Telemundo and Spike. We caught the fighting. Just drew me in, and just ever since, I don't miss anything.
I'm obsessed. I literally watch every fight. The first one I went to was Dominic Cruz, Uriah Faber.
Were you there supporting Dominic?
Yeah.
How did you guys meet?
I think we just met through mutual friends.
You've trained with him, right?
I wouldn't call it training. I got I got beat up by him pretty well.
They said you were coming back. What happened there? Why didn't you come back?
Every single time I would try to come back for a comeback. Some crazy job that you as an actor just wish would just come through. Just came through. I decided to tell myself, well, like if you're not going to take yourself seriously as an actress, how do you expect anybody on this planet to take you seriously?
My goal in life is to have matzo ball soup with you. There's just something about matzo ball soup that really gets my...
Get your blood going.
Yeah.
Let's give it a game.
All right, let's go.
Let's give it a taste.
L'chaim.
L'chaim to you.
I just want to say it's an honor to have this with you. Like we manifested this.
You sure did.
Amazing stuff. Thank you very much to the team for putting that together, and to all the famous celebrities who joined us last year on the program, and not just celebrities, the fighters as well. Last year was probably my favorite year doing the show, and I'm hoping for big things in 2020. As you know, we like to always raise the bar here on the program, and I think this year's award show has been the best one yet. And you'll recall last year when we did this live on television, we made a big thing about ending the show with New York Rick. We only gave him 45 seconds or so. Maybe it was like 55 seconds. But now I'm being nice, and I'm actually giving him like 8 minutes. Actually, Corporate Jake was the one who decided on this. He felt bad about the 45. I said give him 15 minutes. He said give him 8 minutes. And so let us check in now with the man who helped us start all of this. Look at this guy. Whoa. Wow. There's a lot to take in here.
I thought appropriate. No.
First of all, talking to the microphone. It's not your first day on the job.
Before we start.
What is that? Oh, is that a Gina Carano?
Happy Hanukkah.
Wow.
It's actually, her name is Cara Dune.
I don't know what to make of this whole situation. First of all, new glasses.
Well, new glasses, no. Like
I've never seen
kinda.
these. Are you bringing back the thing?
The long hair? No,
what was that
not
thing
quite.
called again?
Man bun?
Man bun, yes. Are you bringing this back?
No, it's just it's at an intermediary stage right now where it's like.
But are you bringing it back?
No.
Okay.
That ended.
That
show actually was the first time anybody seen me without the hair. That was it.
I was the one who said, "Look, we're on ESPN now. It's not Vox Media anymore." Okay.
It's not coming back. But
yes, thank
happy
you. Happy
Hanukkah.
Wow. Can I see it?
Yeah.
It's very nice. It's a nice addition. My own Cara Dune, which you can actually watch right now on Disney Plus. Is it Cara or Cara? She gave me crap for it, and I don't remember which one she said.
I'm going to say Cara.
Cara?
Yeah.
All right. So, it's good to have you here for more than 45 seconds. It's great to see you as always.
Fantastic.
In case people don't listen to the Wednesday podcast, New York Rick revealed recently that he and the brilliant Tessa Hirsch, I should say, head up the ESPN MMA Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook pages. And as I said online late last year. One of my favorite developments of the past year was seeing you two work together. Incredible teammates. You guys have done a phenomenal. How many followers do we have on Instagram now?
We're almost 600K.
Almost 600K. It's unbelievable. So one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on here was to give me your take on some of my awards. You've been watching, right?
I have been watching.
You're known for a bad pick or two. But before we get your take, let's finish up the awards, shall we?
Yeah.
Here are the rest of my awards, and you can let me know if you're okay or not with these as well. Story of the year, the rise of Jorge Masvidal. Agree or disagree?
No brainer.
The resurrection, right? Nothing
Absolutely.
bigger than that. Event of the year, UFC 244, Masvidal, Diaz, November 2nd, Madison Square Garden.
Hard to argue, but you did mention the Rising card that made a strong case at the end of the year, but this is the card.
What about crowd of the year? It was electric in there. I mean, the freaking president was in attendance. UFC 244, Madison Square Garden. Remember the press conference the day before, how hot they were for Usman Covington? Did I miss any there?
No, The Rock doesn't just show up to random events. That was the biggest event.
That was a big deal. And of course, the rivalry of the year started in January. Remember, they were going to headline an event in Anaheim. They canceled the event. It spilled into the Palms Casino. Colby was just trying to get crab legs at the end of the day. And then it ended on the final pay-per-view of the decade, Usman Covington. Do you agree or disagree?
I disagree, but not strongly.
Okay.
I will take Askren and Masvidal.
Even though it kind of ended abruptly?
Yes, it ended abruptly, but I feel like Usman and Covington is a little bit one-sided. I feel like Colby was pushing that one forward almost on his own, and I feel like it takes two. In the case of Askren and Masvidal, you had two that were willing to play there. That's my pick, but I don't have a huge problem with yours.
I'm usually slow when it comes to like the cool things. Masvidal's playing on a different level. It has only occurred to me now. You know what I'm going to say, right? The Who was in reference, the owl stuff was in reference to the Usman Who.
Correct.
I'm slow. You knew that?
You
right
just
away?
picked that up now.
I just picked it up right now. In fact, someone tweeted it and was like, hey, you missed this.
Yeah.
I mean, I did ask, so I was kind of playing dumb, but not really playing dumb.
Right, you were actually in the dark on that one. Great appearance by Masvidal today.
Great appearance. Okay, so now the floor is yours.
Sure.
We got 5 minutes here. What did I screw up on? I will say you've been watching the two that I still kind of feel sick about. Male Fighter of the Year, Coach of the Year, and Female Fighter of the Year. All three really tough ones.
I would love to dog you and come out here and say that all your picks were trash.
Yes.
They were not.
Okay.
I thought your picks were
Male
good this
fighter.
year. I disagree, but I'll say I understand the thought process.
Who'd you pick?
It's got to be Israel Adesanya.
Yeah.
You're adding the context. You're adding the expectations, right?
Right.
Heading into the year, Masvidal wasn't supposed to be this fighter. He wasn't supposed to have this year. He wasn't supposed to make this rise.
Come back, most improved.
He exceeded expectations to a higher degree than, let's say, Israel Adesanya, who coming off a really good 2018 was set for this year. But if you break down the resumes, if you look at beating who was the best ever in that division, then beating who was the number one contender.
Anderson?
I mean, I'm not going to disagree with you, but do we have to add that?
Well, I just mean, if we're going to go shot for shot.
Fair enough.
Till knockout in London.
Fair enough.
And I'm just saying, it was tough. It was really tough.
Well, that's not the order. I think Till was one of his better wins. Was one of Masvidal's better wins.
In order, in chronological.
But Anderson Silva, then Kelvin Gastelum, which I think is a very, very impressive win just based on how that fight went, based on how Kelvin's fared in the division, and then finishing with Robert Whittaker, who hasn't lost in 9 fights, multiple years, was the longest reigning champion, and then was taken out by Israel Adesanya. Not a bad choice for Masvidal. I would have gone Adesanya.
Okay, what
Understand
about
the thoughts.
What about Coach?
I mean, you dogged Coach Eric.
I did? You would have gone with him? I was looking for you to give me some actual...
I cannot. 2 double champs.
How can you pick Adesanya for Male Fighter of the Year and not his coach?
I think it's perfectly reasonable. His coach is not the reason, is not the driving force behind why he was able to have this year. In the case of Henry Cejudo and in the case of Pitbull, Coach Eric is the driving force behind that, as well as some other contenders. We know Paulo Costa, and a few others. So I'm feeling like you dogged Coach Eric.
Wow.
Unfortunately,
so you disagree with both those. What about female fighter?
You dropped the ball. I would have had Weili Zhang.
Okay.
I would have also picked that. Now I see you getting a lot of hate online for Amanda for not picking Amanda Nunes. I do think people are forgetting that the Cyborg win was last year, at the very, very tail end of last year. This year, I think there's a case to be made for both of those fighters, and I have no problem with.
All right, you're now a self-proclaimed social media guru. Let's end on one that I'm not going
for
to
themselves, but yes.
weigh in on. Yes, they certainly do. Is there a social media MMA person of the year?
There is.
Other than me?
There's one person who stood above the rest.
Yes.
and that's Triple C Henry Cejudo.
Wow. Triple C is disparaging my name as of late last night.
You can't argue with what he was able to do on social media this year.
This is almost up there with the Ronda Rousey comeback.
That wasn't me, by the way. That was an imposter, I believe.
It was Lance Armstrong.
Henry Cejudo. Look at this.
Oh my gosh.
There's nothing better than this promo right here.
This was a pretty good promo.
I mean, and you know what? I feel like Captain Eric's hands were on this as well. So
wow. Now
I think you've really botched it.
What, the Dominic Cruz one with the diapers and all that?
We've got the Dominic Cruz one. We've got the Nikki Bella saga, the whole thing that played out there that you were involved with. It's Henry Cejudo's year on social media. Just look at this.
Not Max. I thought you were going to go Max Holloway, sentimental.
Well, you alluded to Max Holloway's great year on social media. I think that's definitely something that earned him Mensch of the year.
Yeah.
But Henry Cejudo had the best social media impact.
Okay.
From not being a great social media person a year ago to now becoming
he was a
darling.
So usually at the end of the award show, we like to do a little thing where we predict the year to come. Male fighter of 2020, female fighter of 2020, fight to see in 2020. But how about this? Every Wednesday we do the podcast, right? Well, on Wednesday on the podcast, we're going to devote the entire show to the year to come. So we're going to really dig deep as far as male fighter, female fighter, fight to see, all that stuff and more. So he'll be back for that. For now, though, we are out of time. Thanks to everyone who tuned in. Thanks to all the winners. Congratulations to all of you. Thanks for watching. Back next week. Same time and place. Until I say peace. I'm out of here. As we say goodbye to MMA in 2019, it's clear the past decade has been incredible, but it's time to put it in the rear. Jorge Masvidal resurrected his career. He's the bad mother effer, whilst Alvender shot up the ranks and danced like no other. China's Zhang Weili made history. She's the first Chinese champ, while Amanda Nunes kept hitting all the notes. She's the GOAT and put her stamp. Triple C, he captured all the gold. He may even have saved the flyweights. Stipe Miocic got his belt back, and then it was back to cleaning the toilets. Kamaru Usman finally captured gold. All hail Mama Africa. Meanwhile, Bellator wrapped up the Grand Prix, and the belt went back to Lima. Khabib has still never lost a fight. He's as dominant as it gets, much like Aleksandr Volkanovski, who ended the year with the featherweight belt. Johnny Bones is still the man at light heavy. Will he ever meet his match? And how about Valentina, who's a force at 25 and has moves like Gwen Stefani? 2020 is here and we can't wait. The excitement runs from our head to our toes. Let's make this the best decade ever. Happy New Year from your pal Helwani. No.